He don't talk unless the proof is in the lines. Receipts in the photo-coded truth in these rhymes. Power play chess, moving pawns through the blind. But a diligent denizen sees designs in the signs. They disguise what they hide, he just shows how it's shaped. Every source double check, never roll with the fakes. In this world full of wolves, he's exposing the snakes. Document every whisper, got the quotes and the dates. He don't chase what they post, he investigates where it stems. Paper trails never lie, follows links to the end. Truth is power, it bends, but yet it always defends. What's verified never shakes, even lost in the trend. So when he speaks, it's a lens, not a rumor or a vibe. He cuts through the noise, pulls the proof from the lies. This is for the people trying to see through the disguise. Diligent denizen where the real can survive.
Let's go. Are we ready? Yeah, let's go. This is cool. Let's go. All right, I like this. Welcome everybody to a very interesting Diligent Spaces on X. Lots of news in the Charlie Kirk assassination world this week. You know, the Fed slop narrative just can't seem to get a break. I saw the shills coming out in force, trying to like play it off like try honestly trying to like play it off like the Secret Service was an incredible source. um there was a an event scheduled this week for JD Vance and Erika Kirk, and Erika Kirk didn't show. She was a no-show to meet the vice president. It was a Turning Point event in Georgia at a university, a speaking event inside, and JD Vance had Andrew Kolvet on stage and said, and what he said is that due to threats against Erika Kirk, they decided to not have her appear, which I think is very interesting. Because later on that day, we found out that the venue, even though it was free, was completely empty. Like completely, nobody showed up to that event. Yeah. So, a local Georgia newspaper reached out to the Secret Service for comments and to see if there was a credible threat on the venue or the event that might have led Erika Kirk to not want to go, and their answer was no. There was no credible threat. So I've been watching the shills all day long in my comments and in the replies, trying to defend this. Right? It's just so crazy, dude. That again, you're arguing with the Secret Service, right? Like there it is. You're arguing with the Secret Service under the administration that you support. So, I mean, are you saying that the administration is lying? I don't understand what's going on here. Very, very weird. You know, if you look at my comments, we have, let me see here. Brick Suit, for example. He says, this is a nothing burger, no threats at the venue. It doesn't rule out other threats since the Secret Service would not be tasked with protecting her outside the venue. While this is true, does she not travel anywhere at all? Like, has she not been like going all over to all of these, to the White House, to all of these other speaking engagements? I mean, she's been everywhere. All of these interviews. She was on CBS's, that town hall she did. Like, I mean, the list of things that she has done publicly is enormous, right? So one could argue, right, is that she probably saw that there was no crowd there, and her PR team was like, don't go. This is going to be a really bad look if you appear in front of this empty venue. And let me just say, the event was free, right? Let me just say that one more time. The event with Vance in Georgia was a free event. It did not cost any money to go, and it was still empty, right? Not a good look for TPUSA, not a good look for JD Vance, not a good look for Erika Kirk, right? And then to have Andrew Kolvet come on stage and be like, oh, well, due to people criticizing her online and all the conspiracy theories, blah, 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 she could there's threats against her life, right? They're virtue signaling. What they're saying is that so not only is he being dishonest because obviously the the Secret Service said there was no credible threat at that event, right? Obviously JD Vance was just fine. Obviously Andrew Kolvet was just fine, right? But the fact that he's willing to not only spin it like that, but he at the same time, while he's applying spin, he's also virtue signaling, saying, if you criticize Erika Kirk, you are responsible for threatening her, right? That's what they're saying, right? It's a false equivalency, right? This is as my friend Hitchlap likes to say, a logical fallacy, right? Refer to all things logical and IQ related to Hitchlap. Go check his profile out. So they are literally gaslighting again, right? This organization, I don't know who's doing their PR messaging, but this is to have the empty venue alongside with the Secret Service saying, there was no credible threat here. I'm looking at the YouTube comments. He never said there was a threat. Andrew Kolvet said that there was a threat due to threats. Actually, he spoke in plural. I mean, if I need to, apparently I need to. We will listen to the clip because I know that I posted it a few days ago. This is just too funny. So they're trying to say that TPUSA never said there was a threat against her. Blah blah blah. All right. Well, let's just see if that's true. Okay, we can. there's the empty venue. Yeah, I'm sure that had nothing to do with it. All those empty seats. Yeah, I would want to go speak there. Yeah, that's not a bit. That's a great look. Sure, that had nothing to do with it. Here it is.
I don't have really flowing, long blonde hair right now. So I'm going to address it right at the front. Mr. Vice President, I'm on stage here instead of our friend Erika Kirk.
That's right.
Because unfortunately, she has received some very serious threats in her direction, which is terrible. It's a terrible reflection on the state of reality and the state of the country. But it underscores a larger point that she has received a lot of attacks from surprising places, perhaps. Tell us what you think about that. Some of the people that have made, part-time jobs out of attack.
So he just said, so she's receiving attacks from surprising places. So this is coded language. What he's saying is that she's not there. He's there in her place because she's under threats, right? So she's literally saying it's not safe for her to go. And then at the same time, he just said, because she's under attack. Now, when they say under attack, what they mean is scrutiny over her behavior since her husband's assassination, right? If you ask too many questions, all of a sudden we're back in COVID days. You're not allowed to ask questions. Can't ask any questions. Can't think critically. Can't criticize. Can't apply skepticism because that's dangerous. Remember this. This is called they are presenting what is called scholastic terrorism, which means that they are saying that if you are critical of public figures, right? If you don't believe a narrative, if you question things, if you ridicule somebody, that they're saying words are violence here. That's exactly what they're saying. They're virtue signaling, and what they're telling you is that your words are violence. They are threatening. So what they're doing is they are trying to make your criticisms as threats or as other kinds of just they're trying to scare people into not talking about her, right? Now, again, I don't agree with anybody who is threatening her. I don't agree with anybody who is calling her names or anything like that. I don't get down with that, right? Like I don't believe that that's beneficial for truth seeking or for accountability, right? Obviously, she was dishonest about her past. I called that out immediately. I found out, there was a few things on my timeline I saw. That's her prerogative, right? But I'm saying that she definitely needs to. I mean, I would argue they're really trying to salvage her name ID and her public image, and it's not going too well, right? It doesn't seem to be going too well. And if I had to guess, there was an executive decision made at TPUSA with the higher ups, and they said, if you go on this podcast, it will not be a good look, right? So, 100% think that this was a PR move, right? I agree with Candace. I think she was likely at the event, backstage somewhere, or in a car or something, and laying low. Now, that's my opinion. I don't know this for a fact, but given that that venue is completely empty, and I mean, look at that. It is completely empty. I've never remember all those videos of the Turning Point events where they were like, it's so packed, everybody's so excited to be here. Look at that place. I mean, there is nobody there. That's crazy. I would argue that's not a good sign for TPUSA, right? As a political activism pack, right? A political pack. That's not a good look. That's a horrible look. And then at the same time, they're also gaslighting you, saying, well, it's not because nobody showed up, it's because you are a bad person for criticizing Erika Kirk or questioning Erika Kirk. You're not allowed to do that. That's dangerous. Those are attacks. Words are violence. Remember? That's exactly what's happening there. Let's listen to what JD Vance had to say for the rest of this.
Erika, and this is the net result.
Sure. Well, first of all, I love Erika, and I know that she did get some threats. And, about 2 hours ago, as you know, Andrew, I was a little worried that we were going to have to cancel the event because Erika was not going to come, and she was very worried about it. And I talked to the Secret Service, and obviously these guys do a very good job. And I said, you know what? Let's let Erika do what she needs to do for herself and her family. I'm sure Andrew will fill in. And let's go and make this an amazing event with the Georgia Bulldogs in Athens, Georgia. So absolutely, we're going to do this thing. But
yeah. So I'm not buying that for a minute. You can buy it if you want to, but I don't buy it at all. And then
Dylan, does that sound weird? Does that sound weird that there were threats made at an event and then like, oh well, she won't go, but we're all safe. It's only her. Like, if they threaten the event, wouldn't there be extra security or
the vice president is there? What are you saying, right?
Yeah. Seems strange, right?
Erika's been strange.
So, but we're all fine. It's only her they're after. Like, that seems a bit weird. I would imagine they would cancel the event.
One would think. I mean, because that would give you exactly what you wanted, right? Like, you would be able to say, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Andrew Kolvet's good to go. The vice president of the United States, the second in line to run the country, right? He's good to go. Do you think the empty crowd might have had anything to do with his lap? Do you think that if you're following?
I mean, listen, I'm only 117 IQ, but there does seem to be a correlation there. Why can't the Secret Service protecting JD and the others protect her as well? I don't get it.
I don't know.
What about the Drewski thing, how he pretended to be her? This is kind of the first time I've even heard of her coming out since then.
The what?
Did you see that when they dressed up as her, that Drewski guy, he like impersonated her?
I mean, I've seen so many parodies of her now that I can't keep up with them.
All right, I'll send it over. Yeah, so Drewski, the guy that was kind of famous for dressing up as like a white guy, he's like a light-skinned fella, but he, went to like the Derby as like a white guy, and everyone thought it was really funny. And then he also did Erika Kirk recently, and it was like pretty much the closest I've seen to anybody that actually, was brave enough to make fun of her, really. He looked just like her, though.
What happened with Biden? Biden had like 3 impersonators as well, didn't he? I wonder how many Erika impersonators I have.
I don't know. There's quite a bit now. I've seen so many. Like I said, I've seen so many videos. Like TikTok is lit up with her. Gen Z, they've destroyed her on TikTok. Like it's crazy what they did over. It's it's ugly. It's ugly. Go ahead, Logic. What's up? Can you guys do me a favor? If you're over on X, please go down to the comment section and repost the space. Let's get as many people in here for this conversation as we can. Go ahead and request the microphone if you have anything you want to add. We're going to be covering some of the latest revelations in the court case with Tyler Robinson. There was a ballistics report that was released in one of the motions, the state ballistics report. The media shills, the new media shills that apparently work for the government now, are all trying to push this narrative that even though the bullet didn't match because of a Dremel, because there was Dremel, because Tyler Robinson owned a Dremel and a Dremel was used on one of the casings, somehow that makes it match. I don't know. It's like very, very weird logic. Almost everybody I know owns a rotary tool. So anyways, let's go to Logic. Go ahead.
Diligent,
Hey, so,
oh, go ahead. I was going to say, Diligent, the co-host glitched if you want to send it again. Otherwise, it's fine.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Logic.
Hey, thanks for having me on. The new microphone you got sounds really good. I got a couple different earpieces. How's it sound?
Well, let's just stick to the show for right now, and we can talk about that later.
Okay. Yeah. Well, anyways, it's like, so when you were saying that the idea where she's losing her base, there was estimated over 1,000 people, even on the conservative side. What would you expect there to be in a Georgia event?
I mean, every other TPUSA event we've seen, especially with JD Vance or with Erika Kirk, they've always been packed. I've never seen one venue that was that empty since the assassination. Any venue.
Yeah, I mean, like that. Yeah, but how much did you pay attention before? Right, because so it's like it's been between.
What do you mean?
It's
They literally the media shills were literally posting a video of the audience almost every event online, right? Like,
well, right. So the estimate's been between. So like the lows go in the 300 to 400 range, all the way up to like 9,000 for major events, right? So, so where would you?
I mean, did you see the video? Did you see how empty it was? I mean, there was like nobody there.
Well, yeah, but we don't. I mean, like whenever they take the video and stuff like that, it's like what the time frame was, how many people actually attended. You can't really get it just from a little synopsis of a video, right?
Right.
And then also too, it's like, so the straw man that's happening, that the straw man fallacy that's happening, that is because that there was a no security risk to the event specifically. That means there was no security risk to Erika Kirk, which is a straw man argument, because no one's making that argument.
I mean, he used it as an excuse to why she wasn't there. I mean, the context is important here. There's no argument to be made. Andrew Kolvet said she's not here because of many threats to her. Right? Like that's
right.
He was
so
using
what I mean
as the excuse. I don't understand what the
right. So what I mean by that is that
there is some weird mental cartwheels going on here. Like your name is Logic.
No, come on. There's no mental cartwheels at all. Come on.
Okay.
The idea is that because JD Vance is safe at this event, and the Secret Service said that this event didn't have any credible evidence of a threat to the event, that is a straw man to the fact that there could be a credible threat to Erika herself. And nobody seems to be addressing the fact that there could actually be a credible threat to Erika herself, and it has nothing to do with the event.
I still don't. Okay.
When did Erika ever say that the event specifically was a threat to her? She just said, we're not going to the event because there is a threat on her, right? It didn't have anything to do with the event, and everything that's come out afterwards, it says the Secret Service assessed the event. JD Vance went there. That's sure. Their Secret Service detail protects him, doesn't protect Erika, doesn't protect her transporting her to and from the event. doesn't really actually chase down any credible threat that's actually happening to her. That's not their job. So there's a conflation error that's happening where because JD Vance is safe at the event, that means that Erika Kirk doesn't have a credible threat. Can you tie that together somehow with any evidence?
Well, I mean, there was no credible threat to the event at all, right? Like the context of her not showing up is about that event. Why didn't she show up? Because there was threats. That's what Andrew Kolvet said, right? Then the Secret Service comes out. And it wasn't about JD Vance, right? But Secret Service is there because of JD Vance. Their job is to assess any threats to that place, right? Which includes the VIPs, which includes Erika Kirk, the same way that they would protect people who were at a Trump rally who were VIPs or with the president, the same way they would protect her if she was at the White House, right? Like their job is to keep the
Correct.
place secure, right? So if
So
they are saying, please don't interrupt me. If they are saying that there is no credible threat to this thing, right? Then what is Andrew talking about? Did you see any evidence? Did he provide any receipts? Did they post
what
any
Erica's
receipts?
saying,
Did they share any receipts of a credible threat at all?
it does like that they didn't at all, but that doesn't stem from the fact that they said her security team says that there was a credible threat to Erika, right? And you guys are conflating.
What threat?
You guys are what you well, I know, but that's fine. We can ask that question. Wait, listen. We can ask that. We can ask that question. That's fine. But what you guys are doing is you're making the claim that there was no credible threat against Erika.
No, you guys. I'm my own person.
Well,
Thank you so much.
Okay. But what people are doing is saying that there was no credible threat to Erika herself because there was no credible threat, according to the Secret Service, to the event. That's a conflation error. That's a logical fallacy.
I mean, the logical fallacy is telling me that I have to demand that the logical fallacy is demanding that I, who is not making the claim, provide proof or prove that the claim is either untrue or true. They're the one making the claim, not me. She was scheduled and she was promoted to be attending this event with JD Vance. They had a flyer. I posted the flyer. It's on my timeline. There's a picture of it right there on the screen. The weird one where they have Charlie Kirk faded into the background with his back turned behind Erika. Very, very macabre. Very, very weird, right? Like everything that they fucking do. Very, very like morbid feeling. They're the one that made the claim. You know, no one made them go up on stage and say, well, the reason why Erika isn't here is because there's threats to her life. Well, they made that's what we call a claim, right? And the onus is on the person making the claim. The onus is not on the people who are scrutinizing the claim. So again,
but this is where
I am not at fault. I am not at fault. The only people who have presented any kind of explanation outside of threats was the Secret Service. And that explanation was contradictory to what TPUSA is saying, right? So it's not my fault
you're trying
that
to
they
make the
chose
claim,
to do that, bro. The logical fallacy is you.
But you're trying to make the claim that the reason why she's not going is because she's losing her base. You're trying to posit that into the public square. So you are making a claim for
the empty venue gives it that appearance. Are you there? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. He's
Yeah,
okay. I can hear you. All right, logical. Will you get that sorted out? We'll come back to you. Go ahead, Notorious.
So I just wanted to weigh in on what Logical's saying. I've actually worked with the Secret Service, and you're absolutely right.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm not sure what happened.
Just a moment, Logic. Just a moment.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, hold on.
So I've actually worked with the Secret Service in prepping events and things like that. And Diligent, you're absolutely right. If there was a credible threat, they would not have held that event. And it doesn't matter if it was another speaker at the event. If there's a credible threat of violence against anybody that might occur at that event, they would not hold the event if it was credible. That's the reality of it. Now, of course, Erika Kirk has the option to say, well, I feel my life's in danger, so I'm not going to go to this. There's that. But for them to plant their flag on this, it's so utterly disingenuous because the prep that the Secret Service does for an event like this is insane. Like they have people going through rafters, they have dogs, going in every nook and cranny of an event space. They have to put their eyes on every single nook and cranny in that event space leading up to the event. We're talking about over a week of preparation. That there was not a credible threat. If the Secret Service said there wasn't, there wasn't. And again, of course, it's Erika Kirk's option to say that she's not comfortable. But if that's the case, if she had a credible threat against her life, it's not going to matter if she was at the event or someplace else. So it's just utterly false. It was just the ticket sales sucked. Nobody was going to it, and she bailed out on it. I think that's the reality we have to face.
And there wasn't there weren't even ticket sales. It was a free event and no one showed up, right? Free. And they have the power of their media apparatus, right? They have a massive PR firm. They have a massive publishing wing. They create flyers and stuff. They've been doing this for years, right? This isn't like a one-off. Like they were underprepared. They didn't have the vice president was there, right? I think it shows, it illustrates, if it was an isolated event, it would be one thing. But look at CPAC, which is like the Republican version of AmFest. It was a low turnout, right? People are not happy, right? Republicans, they're not like Democrats, right? We don't show up no matter what, right? We actually have a lower voter propensity unless we're fired up about something, right? You have to get us fired up. If your policies are not uh, in line with what conservatives want, they're not going to show up. And you see that at CPAC. I think you're seeing that in Georgia, right? Which is a problem for them because Georgia is a big swing state. It's a huge swing state. It's one of the biggest battleground swing states in the country, right? It's the one that there was all that hubbub over the voting integrity, and we had Tulsi Gabbard going to that warehouse, a big PR thing, right? So to have no conservatives, hardly at all, no Republicans show up to an event with JD Vance and the leader of TPUSA, which is the strongest, most powerful, largest political action committee organization in the country. That's a problem for them. That's a huge problem for them. I would argue the reason why they didn't have her go up is most likely because of that, right? It makes it, you're drawing attention. If she goes on stage there, the people who do not like her, and there's a lot of them, right? They are going to tie that empty building to her, right? So somebody said, you're not going on the stage. It's going to be a bad look. JD Vance is already the vice president. He's in there. He's got another 3 years. He doesn't have a lot to lose. She goes up on stage and her already wrecked image is going to be that much worse. And it still didn't help. It still didn't help that she didn't go up there because of the excuse that they used, right? They should have just said she had I would have come up with any other reason than something that could be followed up on. She's sick. Her kids are sick. She wasn't feeling well. Blah, 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 blah. I would have come up with something, but not something that can be independently verified, right? Andrew Kolvet. This is where it's hubris, right? They virtue signaled. They chose, like they always do, to gaslight. Oh, it's because of you attacking, quote unquote, attacking Erika Kirk. There's threats to her life. That's why she couldn't show up, right? It's the virtue signaling. It's the very same thing that they used to accuse the left of doing. It's the very same thing. Hiding behind a shield of virtue, false virtue, right? We're not threatening her. I've never threatened her. I've never condoned any threats to her. I don't endorse that shit. I think anybody who makes a credible threat against a person's life is breaking the law and should face the full penalty of the law. That is threats of imminent harm, right? Or threats of harm are not protected speech. I am a 1A First Amendment absolutist. I absolutely love it, right? And I'm willing to say that you cannot threaten people, right? This is illegal speech. It's not covered under the First Amendment. It's not protected speech in the United States, right? So 100% do not endorse that. However, you are a public figure, right? And you're under scrutiny. This is why the liable standard, right? The defamation standard for public figures are so hard, because when you're a public figure, you allow yourself to be scrutinized. It is different when you are not a public figure. If you're a private figure or a private citizen and you're not making yourself, you're not speaking in public, you don't have a PR team, you are trying to just live your life, and somebody comes after you, like what we're seeing with Erika Kirk, 100% you're going to see the system protect that person. But when you are a public figure, when you are making public statements, when you are making yourself an authority on a certain subject, right? For now, with TPUSA, it's conservative politics and Christianity, right? When you're doing that, you are opening yourself up for scrutiny and criticism. And that's exactly what we are seeing here. They are trying to label criticism as a threat, right? That's what they're trying to do. It's gaslighting. So if they had not added that layer into it, I don't think that this effect would be as bad as what it is, right? But since they decided to go the route of gaslighting and saying, well, the reason why she's not here is because of you, Candace Owens. The reason why she's not here is because of you, Diligent Denizen, right? The reason why she's not here is because you are looking too closely and you're speaking about her in a way that we don't like. And so that's why she's not here. Well, okay, somebody in Georgia, a local press outfit, decided to call the Secret Service and get a statement. And the statement was, there is no credible threat to this event, right? You can try to spin it. You can try to do all kinds of mental cartwheels and whatever you need to do, like 625D chess, and none of it's going to make it any less true. Like, it's not going to make it any less true, right? That there was no credible threat at that event, and they tried to spin it like there was, and they tried to blame us for doing it like they usually do. And the result of that particular strategy ended up having what they call a Streisand effect. That is when you try to obfuscate something, when you try to hide something, right? You try to lie or misdirect or whatever it is you try to do to hide that fact. It actually draws more attention to that thing. And then that thing gets a lot more attention than you originally would have gotten if you hadn't tried to control the narrative. But since they're really bad at this, trying to control the narrative all the time, they've brought a lot more scrutiny to themselves. So go ahead, Logic.
Oh, real quick, can I just finish my thought?
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, right. Notorious, you can finish, and then we'll go to Logic.
All right, cool. No, you're absolutely correct. And just to put this in perspective, the VP and the president's Secret Service teams, when they do event prep like this, it's incredible, the professionalism that they show, the detail that they cover. If there was a credible threat against Erika Kirk, probably one of the safest places on the planet for her would have been that event after the USSS prepped that event for them. That's just the reality of this. It's utterly disingenuous.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Go ahead, Logic.
Hey, so she was making the claim, Erika Kirk was making the claim that there was her security team was saying not to go to this event because there was a threat against her. Okay. Have you guys been able to debunk that at all? Like, you're using the straw man of the event in the Secret Service. The Secret Service doesn't guide Erika Kirk to the event. The Secret Service doesn't take her there. She's not under Secret Service protection. So is there any evidence that you have at all for the counterfactual that she wasn't actually under threat? Because you're making a bunch of claims on top of that.
I can take that. The Secret Service coordinates with any security teams that are involved with any of the members of events that are coming to these things, and they work hand in hand. So
hold on, Notorious. Hold on, Notorious. Hold on. Logic. Whose responsibility is it to support evidence to prove a claim?
It's the person that's making the claim. So it'd be on Erika Kirk because Erika Kirk made the claim.
Has that evidence been presented?
Well, okay, so it hasn't. But what you're doing
I'm glad that we can end this, like, whatever it is you're trying to do here, right? Like you just
said, wait, but you're making
the claim is being made by TPUSA. The onus is on TPUSA to provide evidence of the claim. You're telling me that I have to present evidence to disprove the claim, and you just admitted
it's because you're making.
just before this
No.
that that's not how this works, right? So I
No,
don't
it's
need
because
to.
you're making claims. You're making claims on the absence of her confirmation. So you're making claims on the absence of her confirmation
I mean,
that what she's saying is not true.
I'm
And the
drawing
reason why she's doing this is because she doesn't have an
I'm
audience.
drawing a hypothesis
So it's
based
like,
on the lack of evidence. I mean, that's
right.
like,
I know. So that it's still disingenuous. It's like it's still disingenuous to actually
how is
frame
it
it in that way
disingenuous? You
because
just
you
said,
don't know if it's not true or not.
I don't.
You're making the claim that it's not true.
Well,
You're automatically making the claim it's not true because she's not confirmed it for you.
I welcome her to present evidence of a threat, and I will gladly
Right.
shift my opinion. Right.
Right.
But
So why would she do that in public? Like, why would she go and say, "Here, diligent. Here, everybody that doesn't believe. Here's my threat." Why would she do that in
What do you
public?
mean?
Why is that a good thing?
How much more public could they have said it? They literally had Andrew Kolvet on stage saying that there was a threat against her. I didn't tell them to say that. They made a public statement, right? Like,
right. So what do you? Well, that was the reason for her not being there. So on your confirmation, you want what? Like an email? You want text messages? What would make it? What would satisfy you? What would satisfy you?
What would satisfy me? An email or any kind of evidence of a threat or an arrest.
How do you know that they don't have that? How do you know that they don't have that? How do you know that they don't have that already?
Did I say?
And you're making a claim
again.
I know, but you're making the claim to the otherwise.
You're trying to get me to prove a negative, which is impossible. I cannot prove a negative. Right?
No, it's because you're making a claim because you're making the claim that it's not true because you haven't seen the evidence. Yeah, no, you are.
God. Okay.
You're saying the reason. You're saying the reason why.
Stop talking over me. Okay, calm down. I want you to take a deep breath, take a drink of water, right? Cool off a little bit. Okay, I just told you, right? You just said, who's the one that claimed that there was a threat against Erika Kirk? TPUSA did. Who's responsible to provide evidence for claims that they make? The person making the claim. I don't know why we have to argue beyond that point. Go ahead, David. What's up?
I just told you. I just told you why. Because you're making a claim that absent evidence. Yeah, that absent evidence, the reason for her not being there. The absent evidence is the reason for her not being there is because she has low audience. Like, you are making a claim that the reason why she's not there is absent audience, not actually. Like, you see what I mean? You understand what I'm saying, right?
Out of all. Okay, so is there out of the empty venue and a claim made on stage, which one has more evidence?
What do you mean? Well, like, what's
hypothesis as to why she wasn't there? Okay.
Yeah.
Versus his claim that there was a threat against her. Which one do we have more evidence for?
There's no evidence for anything. You have no Was
the venue empty?
She specifically told you, and you were specifically told your evidence from a source.
Okay,
but listen, your evidence from the source.
I'm going to give you a little bit of a timeout because you keep talking over the host. We can't have that. Let's go to David. Go ahead.
Well, suddenly I'm in the business of teaching people how to think. He who posits must defend, or not, or cede his rationality, because whatever you do, whatever action you take, or whatever you say, it's your responsibility to defend. And this is not a small thing. When you say there's a threat upon me, and you won't give any evidence as to what that threat is. And first, it's perfectly reasonable when someone doesn't defend that which they posit to engage in speculation. Like, what is it? Behind every hypocrisy is an ulterior motive. And there's already an endemic hypocrisy when you're saying, well, I'm under threat, but gosh, I won't tell you what that threat is. It's reasonable to speculate, especially with people that have a history of doing all sorts of deceptive, underhanded things, like saying why I never drank, and then you find that they were party animals, or that I was incredibly celibate and
I didn't date anybody for 5 years.
For 5 years they did. So it's perfectly reasonable. It's perfectly reasonable to try to divine what is going on here when they will not defend the claim that they've made. This is perfectly reasonable. So you should be asking yourself, and I find it very strange when someone says, why would you speculate about this? Why would you do this? Well, why wouldn't you do it? I mean, that's the whole point of citizen journalism. You know, you just get your batteries out, you plug them into your Japanese manufactured bullshit meter, and you try to figure out what's really happening.
I agree.
I'm fine. I'm fine to speculate. Sorry, Dale. I'm fine to speculate. I agree with you. It's okay to speculate on what was the reasons why, like what actually really happened, right? But that's not what's actually happening. People are making claims for why she wasn't there.
Well, they're making
That's a
speculations,
different.
right?
That's a different thing. It's a different. It's a different thing.
In the absence of evidence, we are only left to speculate. It's their fault
I know,
for not
but
providing evidence to back up their claim. Again, I don't know why we're having this. Like your name is Logic and Reason, but you're skipping over the first three principles. Like I don't know what's going on here.
Do you believe her? Is that what you're saying? Are you?
No. I'm not saying that I believe her or not, but there's no evidence for the counterfactual that you guys are giving.
Okay,
I don't have to present evidence for a counterfactual. She needs to present evidence for the claim.
Why are you incredulous, though? I'd like to know, if you say you don't believe her, tell me why you're incredulous as to whether she's telling you the truth or not.
Because if I was to make a claim that she was doing this for X reason, I would have to have
you didn't
evidence.
hear my question. I said, since you just said that you don't believe her, tell me what inspires that incredulity.
Because it's absent evidence. It's absent her saying,
but there are people,
her showing.
But aren't there people in your life that seem very honest where you tend to believe what they say?
I don't care what they say. To be honest with you,
I believe what my dad says.
I want evidence.
He never lies to me. Aren't there people that you believe because they have a track record of honesty?
Absolutely not.
So you basically think everybody is lying to you until they provide evidence. You understand a track record of integrity is how trust is built. And if you don't have that, you're worthy of mistrust. Is that fair to say?
Right, but that's fair to say, but that also makes it easier to lie in the long term.
Okay, so yes, it is true, but the whole concept of trust is based on the fact that someone has the consistency of telling you the truth, of having high integrity. Is that not true? Should the person with high integrity and the person with should the person with high integrity and the person with low integrity be trusted? Hold on. Should the person with high integrity and the person with low integrity be trusted equally?
Well, listen. When you're talking about logical consistencies, there has to be evidence for the claim. It doesn't.
You didn't answer my question.
Yeah, but what it's called a past. It's called a past failure fallacy or a past.
You're not answering his question.
Incorrect.
But that's what you're doing is that because somebody's past. Listen, that's exactly what you're doing because somebody's past.
I asked you a
behavior,
simple question.
You're making a claim.
Hold on. I asked you a simple question. This is very, very simple, right?
Okay.
I could ask everybody in this room, if someone always tells you the truth and is honest with you and has a long track record of high integrity, is it reasonable to believe that person more than the person who doesn't have that and who has told you things that aren't true?
From a logical position, no, because it's a logical fallacy. It's called a genetic fallacy. Yes. Go look up what a genetic fallacy is.
My friend.
That's
genetic.
That's enough. That's enough. You know. All right. We're gonna thank you, David. You can finish what you're saying. Then we're gonna go to Coyote and.
Oh no, I'm good, my friend.
All right, go ahead, Coyote.
Appreciate it, man. The way I come to learn things is ability. You have two people.
Is he rugging?
Story.
Coyote, you're rugging really bad.
Yes.
Yeah, Coyote, get yourself situated. I'll come back to you. Let's go to Australia and go ahead.
Yeah, g'day, Diligent. Yeah, mate. A couple of questions for you then, Diligent, Erika. Do you think she'd be more comfortable sitting alongside Joe and Mika on Morning Joe or speaking to an auditorium filled with notices at a college campus Turning Point USA event?
I think that the former, not the latter.
Which is wild, okay? Because she should feel totally comfortable with attendees at any Turning Point USA event. And to be standoffish, can we interpret her conduct as standoffish? I guess she's not out there kissing babies.
Legal system.
And shaking everyone's hand, right? And she's not signing all the T-shirts. So then I think a follow-up question, okay, if she's more comfortable on Mika and Joe in the morning, is she more comfortable sitting on Rachel Maddow than Tucker Carlson? And if so, how the hell did that happen?
Because her husband was killed at a Turning Point event. Her husband was killed at an event.
So then,
of course, she would not feel as safe.
Then why make her the figurehead of TPUSA if it's a dangerous position? Why would you go put the last remaining member of his family on stage and make her a target? That doesn't make any sense.
Why wouldn't
Candace
you?
Owens is right about this.
Yeah.
I do not believe for an instant that Charlie's dying wish would be for his wife to take his place after he gets assassinated and make her a target. That is just retarded. It's just retarded. Like I cannot. I refuse to believe it. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. Me needing a 20-person security team and spotters and all of this, right? I would ever even consider putting my wife in harm's way, the mother of my children, in any kind of danger at all. It's antithetical to what it means to be a man, right? It's completely antithetical. I don't buy it for a minute. Go ahead, Australian. Sorry.
Who do you think that they Charlie wanted to take his place if he was assassinated? Who do you think?
Yeah, I don't think it was his wife. I don't know who else it would have been.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
but
don't
like
think.
who? Like speculate a little bit.
I don't need
Speculate
to
who you think it
speculate.
was,
I don't need to
because it's
speculate.
going to be the
Again,
same people. It's
all right, so
going
we're
to be
gonna
the
go to
same people that you
Australian.
hate.
We're gonna go to Australian. You're over your skis, bro. Quit talking over me. Go ahead, Australian.
Yeah, no dramas. If we are to accept that argument, it's far too dangerous for her to make appearances because of the danger to the speakers and attendees from violence. Well, that means they have to close down every turning point because it's about protecting those in attendance more so than even the speakers. They have a responsibility to do so. So she's not closing down the whole thing. So I suspect. Well, let us go here then. I think her handler is diligent. I think they're acutely aware that Erika simply does not possess the charisma or the talent to carry in to lead Turning Point USA for the next 2 decades. She is not Charlie. She was never going to be him. And I think the people that are managing her from behind the scenes, I think they're going to implement some new type of ticketing procedures, and they'll place further controls on the questions asked from attendees as well. There is no way she wants an open mic with students posing questions to her. She doesn't want it at one campus, let alone 20. And she certainly doesn't want them on video. So, yeah, I think they're trying to
What are they
exit
gonna
her.
do for the midterms? They're fucked.
They
They're
are.
fucked.
Yeah.
They don't have any kind of. They don't have anybody even close to Charlie. None of the people, Andrew Kolvet, none of those people have Charlie's charisma, right? I met Charlie in Arizona one time at a Turning Point event. The dude is energy, right? Like he has it. You know that thing, that people have, that energy, that flair, that charisma. You can feel it when you meet them. You can feel it when you walk into a room, that pizzazz or whatever. He had that. He had that. She doesn't have it. Blake Neff doesn't have it. Andrew Kolvet doesn't have it. Even Jack Posobiec, with all of his clout and his big platform or whatever, he doesn't even really have it. Charlie had it, right? So I don't know what are they gonna do? They don't have anything to sell people for the midterms with the. I find it highly likely if this continued. If they can't get a handle on the PR aspect of this, I think that we will see her be replaced as the figurehead of TPUSA by the end of the year, 100%, because
Let,
of the midterms.
let me ask you on that then, Diligent, because we can all acknowledge there is a PR war taking place and she's losing very badly. In fact, it may be unsalvageable for them, to be fair. Given what's taken place. And the people think that she is cold. They believe she has a cold demeanor. And that is mostly females who say that. They watch her on video and they say the way she responded after such a tragic event, they just can't square it. It doesn't make any sense for them. She wasn't grieving close to near enough to satisfy people who did have a true, genuine care for him. But man, I am wondering, like, what does she do, Diligent? How can she rebrand herself? She's already said in the public record she forgives the man who shot her father. Meanwhile, Candace Owens is unforgivable. So I think the only way she can salvage some of that PR is through outreach to the very people that allegedly she utterly detests and wants nothing to do with forevermore. And we don't see her breaking bread with Candace anytime soon, do we? But with
No,
that,
and that
w-
further divides the base, right?
yeah,
It's having again a Streisand effect when they go after Kansas and they call her a conspiracy theorist or whatever. It just makes it look like she's over the target. People do this with me all the time. They come at me with smears, with target, with campaigns, lies, all kinds of slanders, whatever. And it's usually whenever actually did a scientific analytical report on this. It spikes. These kind of things spike around my high profile coverage. Fort Huachuca, Charlie Kirk assassination, Epstein, right? And when these coordinated attacks come, like what we see with Candace Owens and TPUSA and all of the shills out here in media land, it actually lends credibility to the person that they're attacking, because MAGA, right, the base, is skeptical of institutional authority, right? So anytime that there's like this coordinated pile on that doesn't make sense, you're lending credibility to the person you're attacking. This is why when attacks happen to me, I turn it into content and then I thrive, right? It has the opposite effect, the Streisand effect. So this is the same thing with Candace Owens. Anytime they smear her or they do a coordinated attack based on what she's saying or questions that she's asking, you're lending credibility to her. It's like, why can't we debate about the jab, right? It's like, why can't we ask questions about this election? Why can't we ask this? Why can't we talk about this country, right? Why can't we talk about this influence in our politics? It strikes home with a huge portion of the base. The base is skeptical. MAGA is not like your traditional Republican. They're not your establishment Republican Party, right? The base is grassroots, contemptuous of government citizens. That is why Trump had such a massive coalition of disenfranchised Democrats. I'm talking about the RFK followers, right? The Elon Musk followers, a bunch of independents and libertarians, right? And then a bunch of very fiscal and social conservative Republicans on the right, which I would say is the MAGA base. When Trump just put out another post attacking Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens and the rest of them, and Joe Kent. It was mostly about Joe Kent, but he threw the rest of them in there. And let me just say this. You can say whatever you want. All of the cheerleaders and the shills and the people who have no souls that cheer that kind of stuff on, they're going to be responsible for the absolute landslide during the midterms, because they are casting a disunifying message, right? When the base is fractured, the party is fractured horribly. It's not just fractured, it's straight up divided. And every day they continue to divide it more. And they don't have a Charlie Kirk to come in and draw people in together. I was at the Turning Point USA rally held for Donald Trump. I was there, right? When RFK came out and endorsed Donald Trump at that rally, right? Charlie Kirk was the glue that made that come together, right? That was his power. He had the ability to draw in these diverse young mindsets that are not a part of the establishment Republican Party. So they don't have that anymore, right? They don't have another Charlie Kirk to come in and save the day, right? And every day, right, with what's happening with like what we saw with JD Vance and the gaslighting, trying to tell people that they can't be critical of a public figure. Every day you do that, every day you gaslight, you push more and more supporters away, right? You're just bleeding them out. And I don't see any end to the blood loss, right? I don't see a bandage being put on. I don't see any attempt at recovery. What I see is it's untouchable kind of sense. Like, we're above reproach. You can't criticize us, right? It is an ungrounded elitism mentality, and it is pushing away a lot of their supporters. So go ahead and run with your gaslighting, but it's not working out too well for you, is it? Go ahead, Coyote.
Appreciate it, man. No, I think it's getting worse and worse, and that tribalism's gonna definitely come in. And it's biting them, man. Everybody, when you look at, it's basically like these big cat turd type influencers and stuff like that. They've resorted to this QAnon style rhetoric or whatever. And if you come at them, or if you disagree, if you oppose in any way, they just label you. Bam, straight to label you. They don't have any argument. They can't back their thought process of any way. So they're just They just try to bullet their way out, and it's not going to work out in the end. I truthfully, I'm one to speculate that this Erika and Candace thing, it just seems like by design to me. I don't know, because everything's so split between them. But here's the thing. JD Vance looked stupid yesterday. Trump is looking dumb and dumb every time he defends any of that. A doctor? I thought that was a doctor on the whole Pope thing. Bro, what do you think that does? That's not cute. Nobody smiled after that. And you're Catholic or not, it's gonna end up. It's doing more damage as that better than it is that. And it's like, if Logic's up here, that's the thing, brother. And I like you, but you defend every time, regardless of what is what. You're going to push against everybody up here if we criticize Erika or TPUSA or anything like that. And it's not a good look. Everybody, ultimately, you just become the guy that if anything is said about Erika Kirk, you're gonna defend it like blindly. And that's just that, man. I just think that we need to be like, we need to come and we need to stop being so tribal.
Hey, I apologize for that and stuff like that. I don't try to be tribal and stuff like that,
Hey,
but I like to push
you don't
back
have to apologize
whenever
for your
people.
beliefs, Logic. You don't have to apologize.
Well, I just like to push back on whenever people make claims and stuff like that. I just want to I want my worldview to be
I think it would suit you
changed. Like,
better to
you know what I mean?
identify who's. I think it would suit you better to identify who's making the claim first, and then hold that sequentially. Hold the person making the claim first accountable, not the people who are trying to understand why they're not, providing evidence for these claims.
No, I mean, I get it though. I'm just like, but there's still claims being made, absent claims. Just like I just want to understand. I just want to know what the evidence is for certain things and stuff like that. I'm not trying to back one team or the other. I want my mind to be changed if it can be changed. It's like, just give me the evidence of why your worldview the way it is.
I think you should start with a healthy curiosity as to why they didn't provide any evidence to back up their claim. Apply that same logic and reason.
I can. I've already provided it. So it's like with Erika Kirk, there's a reason why you don't provide certain text messages and stuff like that, because it's an ongoing investigation into a credible threat. So like, there's reasons for why you don't put that out there publicly.
I mean,
so like I've already provided that. Well, that was I did. Yes, I did earlier. We can rewind it.
A bunch of the shills are saying that, but the TPUSA hasn't said that. So you're making
that's fine. Well, that's fine, but I'm not TPUSA. I'm my own person. So like, I'm just trying to get to the truth of the matter. That's all. So and yes, they made a claim, and yes, they need to provide proof for the claim, but there's counterclaims that are happening. So it's like,
okay,
can somebody provide proof for anything?
You're making the same. I don't want to. We've already argued this. I don't want to. We're going in circles. Let's go ahead. Go ahead, Australia.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, Diligent, in regards to the PR war for her, because, people are curious about Erika, her background, what her intentions are going forward. So she has to start at square one, because people really don't know too much about her, and people are now curious because of her ties with the orphanage in Ukraine. That would be one. Another one would be her relationship history, because she'd stated on the public record that she only had eyes for Charlie, and that may not have been correct even 12 months prior.
13 guys later.
And, well, the wall... Oh, no, we won't go there. Sorry. You almost got me, man. I was about to. And what's the other thing? Potentially, like, lesbian interludes or whatever was going on there.
Disavow. I don't know anything about
it. What?
No, okay. No. But so
I have not participated in any of that conversation.
So what we're trying to get to the bottom of here, well, if Erika is going to come on out and tell her story to hopefully win over the hearts of minds of those who are now fairly skeptical of what her intentions are, and it could have purely, let's grant her, it could just be down to bad messaging. Maybe she hasn't figured all this out yet. Maybe she's not willing to take advice from people, or she's been taking the wrong advice from others. But we set that aside for a moment. Where do we need her to start off to level with the American people? Who is she? What does she want to do? What's her intentions for the company going forward? And would she be willing to clear up any of this mess that potentially happened prior to her being involved with Charlie? Is that where you guys need her to start from?
She's had ample opportunity to do so. I mean, these stories have been... I mean, Charlie Kirk's staff, Andrew Kolvet, Blake Neff, those guys have addressed it. They said it's conspiracy theories, smears. They call it attacks. Or again, they hearken it to threats to her, right? And so they're virtue signaling. But she's had plenty of opportunity to address these questions and these claims, and she won't go anywhere where people are asking these questions, right? So every single interaction I've seen her participate in has been completely astroturfed, right? I have not seen her answer random questions from a town hall crowd. There's been no Charlie Kirk style, ask me anything, right? There where or prove me wrong. Where's that at? That's gone, right? Because I think what we've seen, right? Like, for example, during AmFest, right? She can be seen struggling, right? She's reading from an iPad, right? She makes Freudian slips, right? Quite often. And so I don't think she can handle it. I just don't think that she has the aptitude to be able to fill Charlie's shoes in this way. And that's why she doesn't do it. There's somebody, you're again, like you said, her handlers are like, we have to limit limit her exposure. And I think that's what we're seeing here, especially what we saw yesterday.
Well, are they going to fast track Bryland? Because Bryland isn't having any success on his campus tour. He's getting owned left, right, and center. But they do have
That the
aspirations for him,
twink
right?
got canceled faster than anything. He was immediately rejected by the base. There was they tried propping him up and throwing us. They threw him to the sharks, man. That guy got memed so hard, so fast. The CIA was like, oh shit, they're rejecting the twink. We got to get a new guy in here quick. Pull him out, right? So I think that that's what we witnessed there, and that it did happen. It was quick. They were like, "Oh my God, he's getting destroyed. We got to get him out of there." And that's what happened. We don't hear about him anymore, do you? You don't hear about him at all.
Let me throw a curveball at you, Diligent. So if they announced 6 weeks out, the guest speaker for 50,000 arena is Nick Fuentes. Do they sell? Does Turning Point USA sell every single ticket for a 50,000 seat stadium if Nick Fuentes is their key speaker?
Yes, I think they would. Yep, because he's so controversial and that breeds attention. Um, but that would just, well, I don't know. There's something weird going on with him and his base, right? He's taken a very pro government position in the last year. And so I'm unsure about that. I think that they would at least virtue signal from the Jewish donor crowd, right? They would be upset with that decision. Look what they did about Tucker, right? They were very upset. I think that you would see some backlash. I don't think TPUSA would ever do that. I don't think they don't have the balls, right? I think Charlie Kirk would have done it, maybe, maybe not, but because he actually wouldn't even debate Nick Fuentes. But I think that you're seeing him being mainstreamed. That's why we saw him on we've seen him on like Crowder and all of these other like kind of alt-right mainstream big names, right? He was on that European fellow. I'm drawing a blank here.
Morgan.
Huh?
He was on Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan. Thank you so much. Piers Morgan, right? And they were really kind of like, it was almost like, what deal did you make that made you acceptable, right? And so I think that it would draw a big crowd because one, he has the young audience that they need, right? But it is he also has the audience that they don't want, right? Like they don't want that sentiment. They're literally trying to get away from that. I think that's why Charlie Kirk isn't there anymore, right? They're trying to get away from criticism of Israel and America's relationship with it. And he's not going to, like, his audience thrives on those topics. So I don't think we'd ever see that, but I think it would fill up a stadium, 100%.
Yeah, they'd never let him do it. But if it was purely for bums on seats, yeah, he is the one. He's the one that could give them the sellout tour and bring so much notoriety and extra coverage to it. He could debate all the students. They'd line up for him. But yeah, they're not going to do it. And I've felt this since we received the sad news that infamous morning when Charlie was executed. But at that instant, when Charlie was no longer living and breathing on this planet, Turning Point USA had finished because no one can replace him. He's irreplaceable. But I'm still wondering about Erika Diligent. What's the final product that she wants to be? Does she want to be a Susie Wiles, bit of a kingmaker behind the scenes in the White House, or does she want to be VP? Or
I
who
think
knows?
I think that if JD Vance is on a shadow campaign right now, I think that he's created by the system, right? He's if you don't know the history, right? I made a post about this and I had Grok fact check me because someone called me out on it, and I was like, "Oh, fact check," and it's all true. If you don't know, right? InQtel is the CIA's capital venture firm, right? They create private businesses for the CIA. Palantir was created with Peter Thiel by the CIA, by InQtel, right? Peter Thiel was in part created with Epstein, right? He was in bed with Epstein. A massive amount of one of his venture capital firms has the largest holding, and Epstein's estate is in one of Peter Thiel's venture capital firms, right? So the CIA creates InQtel. InQtel creates Palantir and Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel created JD Vance. Vance was a student at Yale Law School, right? And met Peter Thiel when he was there at a speaking event. And then Peter Thiel just magically usurped. Vance quits his college career and moves to California with Peter Thiel, gets a $10 million venture capital firm job, right? And then creates a whole new identity, writes a book, and then has Peter Thiel pretty much pay his way into a Senate position, and then also in front of Trump, and then long last into the VP position, right? So we're talking about this is a long-term strategy of the CIA, right? These people are literally created by the deep state. And I think that they're running a shadow campaign with JD Vance right now, and you're going to see them push him for the 2028 election. They're going to have to cheat because he's not popular. Look at that stadium, right? He's not popular. He can't draw the crowd that Trump draws, right? He wasn't popular before Trump. He was seen by many, including myself, as a disloyalist when they chose him to be the VP. I held a big space about it. He's compared Trump to Hitler. Just over and over and over the years, was dogging on Trump. And then all of a sudden he's picked for VP. That wasn't because Trump wanted him to. That's because the deep state made Trump do it. This is just right after Butler happened, right? So I think that you'll see JD Vance get pushed more and more like he has been, like he was sent over to the Middle East to do negotiations and failed, by the way, right? So I think that you're going to see him get rejected by the base. And what we saw yesterday at that venue, the empty venue, and Erika Kirk not going on stage is a huge red flag for JD Vance, right? I think that may have been the end of his career, right? Like it was, that's brutal. Those are brutal optics. When you're already have a base that is unhappy, they're unhappy right now. So, go ahead.
You know what? You know what it looked like, Diligent. It looked like the stadiums that quickly emptied out when Beyonce had finished singing before Kamala came onto stage. Right? Remember, there was rapturous applause and full attendances when Megan the Stallion and that was going to be there. But as soon as they finished their set, most of the people there bounced, and Kamala walked out.
They're going to have to pay people to show up. All the stuff that we accuse them of doing of Kamala, that's the only. They're going to have to do that.
So did you read his book as well, Diligent? Hillbillyology? Is that what you're referring to?
I did not, but I thought I've read some passages out of it, including the one about, let's just say, some unaddressed desires he may have had when he was younger, that I found very interesting, considering Peter Thiel's sexual preferences and how JD Vance ended up out of Yale and with Peter Thiel so much. I won't go there. That's a discussion for another day.
So is it a coming of age story, a bad boy from the wrong side of the tracks with a not settled family life, somehow was able to knuckle down and graduate Yale and now look at
Poor
him?
me. Yep, bad parents, alcoholic family, alcoholic mother. Was misguided with his who he would get crushes on. Let's just say, right?
So is it
Um,
just like, remember Bill Ayers wrote Dreams of My Father for Obama, and that went out there and that was sort of a fictional story.
that's a good comparison.
So who
Okay.
wrote Hillbillyology for him? Who cultivated the persona which was going to be a political entity? Because somebody did. It's a brand, it's a
Well, I mean,
product,
Peter
right?
Thiel was his mentor, so I would say probably Peter Thiel, right? Along with the ghostwriter. I don't really know. I don't want to make that claim, but I know I don't. I highly doubt it was just JD Vance, right? He was created. He changed his name twice. His name's not JD. He changed his name twice. Twice. He's on his third name legally, right? This is a completely constructed persona. Completely. Okay. He what you see today is a completely crafted persona, right? And they are pushing him to be the next president. And I do think that they were testing the waters of installing Erika Kirk alongside him, right? Which is why you saw them on that flyer together, right? That's what they were considering. They're trying to do that. To be honest with you, in my personal opinion, she's also a creation, right? I made that in my post. I was like, she was created by her, Erika Kirk, CEO of Turning Point, was created by Charlie Kirk's assassination, right? And JD Vance was created by Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel was created by the CIA and Epstein, in my opinion, right? So it's those that's who they're trying to make our leaders. Think about that. That's scary as fuck, man. These are completely like abominations of authenticity, right? Like these are abominations of authenticity, and that's who's going to be running our country in 2028 if something else doesn't happen, right? And that's a terrifying thought, right? It is terrifying to me for the future of this country, right? It is. Yeah, I don't know. I may be going on too long there, but that's just how I feel. Those are all my opinions. Those aren't facts, except for the one about what JD Vance said in his Hillbilly Elegy and his history with Peter Thiel and all of that. That's all factual. You can look that up if you don't believe me.
So you think they hope to soften his rough public image by placing him in close confines with Erica? The sympathy people had for Erica was meant to spill on over and then somehow transform into a form of support for JD. Because if Erica likes him, well, I guess we like Charlie, so we have to like Erica and support her decision. There is an element of that to it, Diligent.
I think so, but the sympathy credibility got burned really quick with Erika Kirk because of her behavior. If she was able to feign feign like remorse in a meaningful way, right? In a believable way, right? She's not even a good actress. If she was able to come off as authentic at all, right? I don't think that they would be struggling like this. But the problem is that JD Vance isn't popular and she's not popular, and you need at least one popular person, one person who's charismatic out of the other one to sell them, right? And you have two losers there. I'm sorry to say it, but they're L's, man. They're not those are not W's. Those are not winning personalities. They don't command a room, right? They don't have a I've seen JD Vance in person with Tucker Carlson in Pennsylvania when I was advocating for Trump there, right? When I moved to Pennsylvania for a few months, almost half a year to try and get Trump elected, right? I saw JD Vance. I was down on the floor. I had VIP seats. I was sitting right down the just not too far from him on stage with Tucker Carlson. And let me just say, Tucker completely outshone him, right? He doesn't have the pizzazz. He doesn't have it, right? Erika Kirk doesn't have it. Okay. JD Vance doesn't have it like Trump does or Tucker does or Candace or anybody else that's being named, right? They just don't have it. And the astroturfing, if you don't know what astroturf means, it means fake grassroots, right? It means fake grassroots, inorganic. The promotion of these people to try to sell them to the public, it's not working. They're being rejected. They're being rejected. So they have one of two options. Okay. They can continue with the AstroTurf campaign. They can use the new media that they obviously control. They're bitches in the new media. We all know who they are, right? Con Inc., the shills. They can continue to try to push these things through the Con Inc. shills. It's obviously not working. Or, right, they can try to remove her and place a new, more charismatic figurehead in front of TPUSA, and then maybe try to do something with JD Vance off of that. But I mean, whatever they have to work with now, it's not working. And you can't polish a turd, right? It is still going to be a turd at the end of a day.
Who advised him on the mascara? And honestly, does that mean there's going to be a male president of the
According to
United
him, he
States
doesn't
who
wear
wears
mascara.
mascara?
So according to him, he doesn't wear it. I mean, I don't know.
Can't
I
have
don't
a
know.
mascara president.
It's just that alone makes it irredeemable. Like, does
Biggest
he
red
have?
flag ever, Australia. Biggest red flag ever.
Well, as a man, right? So he's number 2 in command of the nuclear arsenal of the world's biggest superpower. He's number 2 in command. Yet he has self-esteem issues with his public image. Like, when you get to a certain point, a certain caliber as a man in leadership, where it really wouldn't matter what you look like. You command so much power from that position. You can have any woman on the planet, and you're not terribly concerned about what your appearance is. But I do wonder, man, because we all have eyes. He has definitely had makeup applied to his eyelashes or eyelids, whatever you women do, because us blokes don't do it, but he does. So I'm wondering who advised him that's what he needs to do, or is it an insecurity he's always had?
Ha-
Because the
Have you ever
VP
heard
who
him
wants to be the
before?
president can't have insecurities like that. He just can't.
Look at
Have you ever heard
Trump.
him like 8 years ago, bro? Like, bro, it's he was very feminine. I guess you say the way that he talked. I think that they kind of roughened him up. But I think that maybe his only way to cope to keep that
He
little
was
piece of the
rooming.
old.
He was rooming with a trans guy, right? Like he was rooming.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
100%. 100%. He was rooming with a trans guy in Yale before the very, very, very $3 bill Peter yanked JD Vance out of Yale and took him to California of all places, and took him under his wing as his protege for the next however many years. um I'll leave that to your own imagination.
Is he
And he
looks
dressed as a woman.
matching?
Is he what?
Looks matching, or what is it? Looks maxing?
Looks maxing.
Yeah,
No.
got to get Clav onto the job. Yeah, his new candidate is VP Vance.
JD Vance, I will sell you a mold of my jawline for a significant amount of money if you are trying to look more masculine. I was told that I have such a fantastic jawline and chin that it might be an implant. So if you're looking to, strengthen your image, we can work something out. My DMs are open. Send me a message and we'll talk. All right,
Hey,
let's go.
Diligent, wasn't it described as a military chin, mate? Didn't you have a military
That's one
chin?
of the descriptions. I've heard so many of them. I can't keep up.
I liked that one. That one stuck with me.
Yep. I agree. Go ahead, Lumi, and then Paul.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if something, God forbid, were to happen to Trump, isn't it kind of a psyop now that most people are kind of disgruntled with him, so they would like something to happen, and then JD Vance just moves forward? So, by definition, him being kind of not popular right now might be actually the reason why things haven't actually kicked off yet, if you think about it. If he was more popular, maybe they would speed up potentially whatever plans they have. That sounds like conspiracy, but you just laid out the paperwork and he's sitting right there to take the position of the president.
I think they've realized that he's a dud. I mean, that's what we're seeing. He's been sequestered away. He's been sent on all these wild goose chases by Trump all over the world and failed miserably
It's
as these
exactly what
folks
they did
asked him
with
to do.
Kamala.
Niven.
Remember when they sent
That
her to the border?
it is, which is telling. I firmly believe that.
Go ahead, Paul.
You made like 8 of the points I wanted to make, which was you got supporting actors that are trying to play the lead role. I was about to bring up the whole Kamala thing. And see, the
Yeah, there's
problem
no
is
main characters. Where are the main
right.
characters?
Exactly. And the public is always going to reject. We're getting pretty good at sniffing out people who are disingenuous. And like you said about Erika, she would have benefited if she would have just been quiet and smiled, made an appearance, never uttered one word. And just the sympathy alone, because her husband was so revered, she really barely make an appearance here and there, be the CEO that no one really hears from, and no one would have questioned it because she would have been a widow in mourning. But the fact that we didn't even see that stage, like we didn't see any kind of mourning that looked authentic. The public looked like it hurt more than she did. And we only know that because
100%.
she kept herself public. That's the reason why we know this. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be questioning it. But the fact is, she wanted to be in the limelight. And you were talking about people that either have it or don't. Another example, we saw this recently. If anybody watches the PBD podcast, Adam Sosnick, he tried to do this little debate. I think it was on Pierce with David Smith. And he just looked like an absolute fool when he's not in a controlled environment. And that's what even Dave Smith was like, man, I don't even want to do this to you. I kind of like you, but you're doing so bad right now. And then PBD had to like apologize for his brand because of all this stuff. And that's what I'm saying. We got people who are planted in the limelight, and you can just tell. I say this without like trying to, I don't know how to, it's going to look bad, but like someone like you, Diligent, would be someone that TPUSA should be looking for because you're in the trenches every single day having debates, listening to people with different points of view. You learn how it is. You have to earn your way into these positions. There are people that got it, whether you agree with them or not. You brought up Nick Fuentes. I'm blocked by Nick Fuentes, but I think it would
I'm
sell
also
out,
blocked
right?
by Nick Fuentes.
Right, and I think I'm blocked by it because I told him I don't appreciate how he represents
I got
Catholicism.
blocked by Dan Bongino and Nick Fuentes in the same week. It was weird because I hadn't interacted with either one of them.
Right, but you know, he knows how to debate with people, and people who want to listen to that brand, they will. If you look at people who have religious debates, Jay Dyer, I just found out I got blocked by him. I don't even know why, but he's really good at debating people, right? And so because he has above knowledge than most people he confronts. Now he picks on low-hanging fruit a lot, which makes them look good, but you do get experience by having these conversations, being on the trenches, doing this every single day. Eric, you know, my wife and I, we have our strengths, right? And I'm a conversationalist. I'm someone that likes to be in here and participate with you guys. But just because she's my wife doesn't mean that she has the same skill set that I do. I never expected that out of Erika. I was like, this looks so weird. The people that they should have put in his place were the team of people that they got rid of, and they did so only for one reason. It should have been Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, and Candace Owens. And why wasn't it? Because they didn't have the strange allegiance to Israel that is demanded right now by the establishment for you to get the green pass to be able to talk to the major conservative audience. And TPUSA was the largest, you know, conservative group in the country, but that was the only reason. If they did that, they would be the faces of TPUSA, and it probably would be at the same level that it was before, because the three of them probably could have kept the interest with discussions with people, with debates and all that kind of stuff. But right now we have a split in conservatism, and it's showing everywhere, and it's showing right now in TPUSA because we smell BS in the air. We want people that want to focus on America first, and we're sick of it. We're sick of the excuses. I have no hatred for Israel. I want them to be safe. I don't want anyone to attack that country, but we just don't understand this undying loyalty where we have to use so many of our sources while we're 40 trillion in debt and our people are starving, and the cost of living is going
America
up.
last policy, bro.
It's an America last policy. And the problem is Erika didn't have the guts to continue the line of questioning that her husband had at the time of his untimely demise.
Well, I would argue that's probably why he's not here anymore.
I unfortunately, I have to agree. And some of that is based on speculation, but guess what? We don't have an FBI that has shown any transparency from the Biden administration to now. That was what we expected to happen. What happened at Butler? We never got any details of that. Don't you think that an assassination attempt on our president should have come out? We should have had specials and reports and learned so much about the assassin, all that stuff. We didn't get any of that transparency. We thought it was because it was the Biden administration that was blocking these things. But then when the Trump administration came in, what transparency did we get? The Epstein thing that happened. How is it that it's a year later that Pam Bondi gets fired? Now I waited a year because like logic and reason, I like how you're asking questions, you want to push against it because you want to check to see what's true and what isn't. I waited a year. I had a lot of friends here who were telling me, "Oh man, how are you still buying all this stuff with MAGA? How are you still believing everything about Trump?" And I said, "I'm going to give him one full year before I analyze everything that he's done, and then I'm going to look at all the patterns, and you got to use some pattern recognition." We're getting to the point now where it's like, well, what is true and what isn't? But someone who puts a depiction of themselves as Jesus Christ and everyone sees it and is like, this is clear. If this wasn't a very clear lie to you, you have to understand the only way that Donald Trump can say that he thought he was a doctor is if either he's going senile, like Joe Biden, because he's 79 years old, he thinks you're stupid, or he's just straight lying to your face and he just doesn't care. But nobody in the world thinks that that looks like a doctor. My father's a doctor. I grew up in a hospital. I never saw any doctor that wore white robes with red sashes. And I was like, oh yeah, there's a doctor walking down there. Maybe in India or in the Middle East or somewhere. But where's the stethoscope? So you have to, and then there's people who are covering this. Like it's a look, if he would have just come out and said, you know what, I messed up. I shouldn't have depicted that. It was a really foolish thing. A lot was going on. I was going back and forth with the Pope. That would have been a moment of honesty. And then I would have been here and be like, the guy looks like he regrets it. All right, cool. But now it looks like, one, he doesn't regret it at all. And two, he thinks you're stupid. Oh, I thought I was a doctor. So we're getting tired of seeing constant disingenuous narratives from people. We're being talked down to by everyone in the elite class, and they're allowed to stay there because they all lie together. And the big general lie that we keep seeing, the one thing that keeps all these people in common, no matter what their intelligence level is, do you have a loyalty to the military industrial complex and what it's trying to do with Israel, or do you not?
Yeah, you covered a lot there, but I agree with most of what you said. 100%.
Hey, he invoked my name. He invoked me a little bit.
Well, I got a lot of hands up. My co-host has got her hand up, so you can wait. Go ahead.
Thanks, Logic. Yeah, so I just wanted to reset the room. We got about 70 reposts, 700 people in this space. If you guys can, just give us a nice repost. That would be great. We
Bottom
just got
right corner to the comment section, the purple pill. Open that up and hit the repost button on the space. Thank you. Go ahead,
Yes.
Harmony.
No, that's it. Thanks, Diligent.
Thank you so much, Harmony. Make sure you guys are following her. She's amazing. Lots of good spiritual posts on her timeline. Lots of wisdom there. Lots of wisdom. Go ahead, Coyote. Coyote.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So I wanted to touch on that. So this conservatives, right? Because I think about this all the time. I call it the new age conservatives. Our identity politics when it comes to the right or whatever. This is worse than the affirmative action on the left or whatever. We have and just being transparent here, they've created in Miami-Dade County an anti-Semitism task force. Now these are things that go against the First Amendment, so I'm always going to touch on that when it comes into it. But that's where we're at. We have the victim stance. That has always been something that the liberals do, right? Like this whole victim mentality. But yet we hear it all the time over on our own, and it's acceptable. We're actually going against the Constitution with a lot of these things that they're putting into play, whether they're HRs or some of the things that they've even passed in Congress, and that's disturbing. And also, like they have an HRES on making the Temple Mount. Like we don't have any business with these things that we're doing, but somehow people accept that this is conservative. What happened to single issue bills and stuff like that? Nobody talks about that anymore, but we talk about these identity politics to where it's okay for these people that are so-called conservatives to pull the victim card. That's something that we need to really recognize because it's getting out of hand. And it goes against what this Constitution is about. Regardless of it, hate speech is free speech. It's just one of those things.
If you want to know who rules you, look at who you cannot criticize.
100%. And that's the thing. It shouldn't be like that. And the thing is, that's not nobody's being like this has it's a big
I'm not just
polarized
talking about Jewish people. I'm talking like
Oh,
Erika
yeah.
Kirk. Erika Kirk's a good example of this, right?
100%. You
They're
can't
trying to tell
criticize her
you
because
can't
you're
criticize
bad.
her.
Yeah, you're bad. You can't talk about how her eyes look crazy. I mean, they look crazy. It's like, that's a perception that I made, and it's actually factual that they look kind of crazy. But I'm bad for that.
I
Like
mean,
I get it all the time.
just kind of crazy.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
bad,
just
bro.
kind of.
I mean, them eyes, man. How do you go? That's grieving. No, it's not. It's all this has been very foul. It looks foul. And when the majority of people say, hey, that's foul, then it might be foul. You might have to take a look at that. But yeah, man, we really gotta do that because we got a lot of people that say that they're in the right, that they're not on the right. They're not at all on the right. They don't care about free speech, and that's one of the things. We should always fight for free speech.
Go ahead, Lumi.
Yeah, I was just going to bring to your attention something which no one's talked about, but everything you said, everyone, is really important. All ties into this. The governor race in California is between a sheriff who's trying to investigate corruption in voter fraud and stuff like that. You've got Steve Hilton, who I don't know if you know who his wife is, but she got paid $7 million last year by Netflix, and she worked for Google, and then she worked for Meta, and she's basically part of the Silicon Mafia, essentially. And if you look at Steve Hilton's views, it become quite apparent that he went from not being, as you said earlier, astroturfed. He was astroturfed into place. British guy as well, who used to be the advisor to David Cameron in the UK. So it's really interesting how we always get into this situation. I've been saying this for like months. Look out for Stephen Hilton coming out of nowhere. Now he's in like top position to take the seat. And when you thought Gavin Newsom's going to be bad, you just wait. This is freaking A. It's crazy. This is crazy. At least he won't be president though, because he wasn't born in America.
Right on there. We're a little off topic, but thank you, Lumi. Always making sense. Go ahead, Eddie. What's up, brother? I'm sure you have a different take.
Well, yeah, I mean, a little bit. I don't know about Erika Kirk not showing up. I don't have the details of that, so I can't really speak.
Did you see the empty venue?
Yeah, I did. And that's what I want to kind of focus in on. Like, I don't understand what they're doing right now is not working, obviously. So you got to change. So why don't you restructure the thing? You don't have a Charlie Kirk right now. So bring in some people like maybe Riley Gaines or Isabella Brown.
But Trump just attacked Riley Gaines. How are you going to do that?
Who cares? You go against the grain, right? Because your audience is not. You're not trying to bring Trump in
Trump's
as your
not
audience.
going to get elected again.
Right. Trump's not running again. It's over. Right. This is his last term. So your audience is Gen Z, right? The younger crowd. That's what you're going after. And I would definitely bring in like Caitlin Bennett. And I would bring her content in. She could do interviews. You could really focus in on social media. I mean, instead of doing a Charlie Kirk show, I mean, it's not working, man. And you got to be willing to change, or you're going to fail.
You're a diehard Trump supporter. You're usually my, whenever
I
I'm being
love
critical.
Trump.
Yeah,
I love Trump, but we're trying to. You're trying to build TPUSA,
a spade, right, Eddie? You got to call a spade a spade.
Well, I'm not dogging on Trump. I mean, Trump has his opinion.
Do you agree that JD and Erika Kirk, they just don't have it, whatever it is, the pizzazz, the charisma, the appeal?
Yeah, I don't know about JD Vance. I mean, I've heard him speak on the Senate floor a couple times, and he's not a bad speaker, right? I kind of tend. I mean, I like Marco Rubio, dude, and I like Tulsi Gabbard, actually. Yeah, I think Marco Rubio's doing a fantastic job.
No,
absolutely fantastic job.
He's a neocon.
I don't give a fuck what you think about him. He's doing a fantastic job.
Eddie supports the neocons.
The neocons. He's out there, trying to stop wars. He's, working with Lebanon.
Yeah. What about Lindsey Graham?
I can't believe what I'm hearing right now.
What are you talking about? What did he do today? What did Marco Rubio do today? Tell me.
He's doing like like 6 different people's jobs, but he's the one pushing for. All of these people were against Trump. Okay, Tulsi Gabbard was against Trump. Marco Rubio was against Trump. JD Vance was against Trump. Like Trump is surrounded by a bunch of people who despised him, right? And they are pushing a pro-war agenda. This is not a neocon agenda.
And expanded foreign
Venezuela,
policy.
Greenland.
That's your opinion.
Greenland, Iraq is Iran is a neocon policy, right? It was a
Iran is
a neocon policy, 100%.
Venezuela was a brilliant move.
He's expanded foreign policy.
I think that remains to be seen.
Brilliant fucking move. Absolutely.
But it's still neocon policy, right? This is the Bush era kind of policy of expansionism, world police.
Do you think we're going into? You think we're going into a forever war? Like, you think? Do you think that?
I think that there is no way to anticipate what happens in war.
Well, that's true. There's no way to anticipate the next time you get in your car and you drive to the grocery store.
But then I'm not driving my car to go blow up a bus. So if I was driving my car to go blow up a bus, I would say it's reasonable to assume that a further conflict will ensue, right? If I'm just going to get groceries, the chances of me getting into a firefight are a lot less. So it's not the same. Go ahead, Paul. Oh, and you can respond, and then we'll go to Paul.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to convince you of anything. You know, I just disagree with you on the policies that Trump is doing right now.
So did you see the I want to take a moment. I want to address this. Up in the Jumbotron, I have a post that I am being shadow banned, by the way. I don't know what's going on. It's been for about 2 or 3 days. I noticed that when the news about Charlie Kirk was dropping and the bullet fragments and all of this stuff, my account took a considerable hit in reach, right? And then also I noticed that the shills were like attacking me and my replies and posts about me or whatever, the smear attacks, all of this happened at the same time. And so it's like they were anticipating, if I had to guess, and this is just speculation, if I had to guess, they were anticipating my coverage going viral, because I usually do whenever they have these kind of narrative things. And so I don't know what that's about, but I have a post showing from the lab report that the bullet fragment they found in Charlie Kirk was inconclusive as a match to the gun. And I just saw a post in the comment section. They're out there saying that it's a match. And it's literally the opposite of a match. It's inconclusive. It's not a match, right? So help me push these posts. Collectively, we can help fight the narrative war for truth. My link is in the Jumbotron. Please go share that out. Comment, bookmark, respond, share, whatever you got to do. Let's get it moving. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I wanted to, for the space, when you brought up something earlier, you know, I didn't know it was a new fact, and I think someone was like, that's not true. You brought up about JD Vance, and he had he was close friends with a transgender woman named Sophia Nelson, who was his classmate at Yale Law School. While they were not explicitly described as roommates, they were close friends for a decade, and with Vance even supporting her after surgery before a falling out in 2021 when he basically started getting on the Trump campaign. She had emails that were released. There was an interview that she did. One of the questions that they asked her was, he describes a 2011 speech in which Peter Thiel visits campus as one of the most momentous events of his life. Do you remember when that speech happened? Did you by chance attend that speech? She said, I certainly didn't attend the speech. I do remember that it happened, and I do remember that he was kind of enamored with Peter Thiel. And I didn't really know much about Peter Thiel at the time, didn't pay much attention to it. But later in our relationship, I challenged him because I had read some things that Peter Thiel had written, including a piece that he wrote where he questioned the wisdom of extending the right to vote to women, on how both the modern welfare state and extending the franchise to women destroyed our democracy. And I said, hey, JD, why do you like this guy so much? And JD really brushed me off and said, he takes me seriously. He likes ideas. And it was the first hint that JD was willing to look past some really dangerous and bizarre opinions of certain people and embrace them because they were helping him and helping his career. So just some facts out there for people to know. I didn't know about this till Diligent brought it up, so I'm sure there's other people in the space that are unaware of this. I too ask questions. Where did JD come from? All of a sudden, we have a Ron Howard movie that is on Netflix that everybody can go watch. He gets pushed right into the vice presidency. And, before that, I was noticing another young guy who was very well spoken, who was rising. Did we forget about Vivek Ramaswamy? Now, I'm not saying that you have to like Vivek or not, but Vivek was kind of coming out of nowhere, but he was holding his own, going out in the front lines, taking part in, he literally would challenge anyone in the room to come and talk to him, and he would answer questions, and he was doing it pretty effectively. And when the campaign started, because to me, he sounded like a young Trump with energy, and Trump was just letting the vice president candidates duke it out, or I'm sorry, the president candidates duke it out, but we all knew they were all trying to become the vice president, and none of them got it. JD got it, which was kind of funny. But then they tried to bring Vivek in the beginning, and something happened there. Vivek got pushed out, which makes me wonder, did Vivek, did he just not toe the line, right? Like, he obviously didn't do whatever gets you the green pass to stay on the team.
Technocrats.
Yeah, what's up?
The technocrats, the JD Vance aligns with them more. Peter Thiel and all that. That's why they got him there. It's the technocracy.
Yeah, but something about Vivek rubbed the establishment wrong. So who knows? Maybe he's not as bad a guy as some people were thinking. That's all I'm
Trump
saying.
spoke about this. So Trump spoke about this actually on the Joe Rogan show, not naming Vivek, but saying exactly why he wasn't going to put business people forward, and he would rather pick someone who he knew or a politician because they're more tested. I thought it was amazing. Rewatch the October Trump Joe Rogan thing. Now looking back, and when he talks about Iran and all these different things, you're like, all right, he's saying everything he says he does. It's really kind of scary.
I want to give some quick props to the Australian and the Brit that represented today. You guys really came hot. Some had some great talking points, and it's been a joy to hear you guys in the space as well today. I just want to throw it out there.
Australian Talks is a legend. He's an absolute legend. Have you never met him before, Paul?
No, I hadn't met him. I started following both of them because sometimes we just get foreigners, don't know what they're talking about, and we welcome foreigners, but a lot of times
you should definitely get to know Australian Talks. He's with you, brother, on the he is a fellow crusader, shall we say, right? He's trying to
nice.
Yep.
Nice. Love to hear it. I didn't bring it up here. You were probably thinking I would, but I didn't, Diligent. We have other interesting stuff to talk about. I'd actually rather talk more about other things to get back to a little normalcy. But yeah, man, we can't be just accepting anyone that the administration puts down our throat, no matter who it is. And you should always be asking questions. That's what being Americans always been. That's what the freedom of journalism and press was all about. And we don't have good journalists. That's why, Diligent, from day one, dude, there were people who were like, oh, Diligent. I was like, dude, the guy's asking questions. I'm never going to hate on people that are going out there and just fighting to get some answers. And, I always respected you went out there and in the field and on the front lines to go ask questions that the public should be wanting to hear. And there's just not enough of that. And anyone who does ask questions, eventually they're going to try to destroy your name because you just want the truth. And that's part of it.
And they don't want the truth.
They don't want us to know the truth. That's what it is.
100%. 100%. I do want to move on to this. If you're over on YouTube, I have the image pulled up of this laboratory report. It's attached in that post up in the Jumbotron. And I just want to highlight this, right? It says that the bullet fragment, I think it's right here. The bullet fragment for that was pulled out of Charlie Kirk, right? Is only a partial of the bullet, right? It's a fragment. It's not the entire bullet, even though, right, the Kolvet text message with Erika Kirk or the miracle bullet story that we were told, right, where it was the bullet completely intact, didn't fragment, didn't shoot out, didn't hit anybody else. Charlie's, rhinoceros neck stopped the 30-06 bullet from harming anybody else. That miracle bullet story. Well, according to them, it was so destroyed, right, from being shot into Charlie that it was unidentifiable to a gun, right? And so what they are doing instead, they're saying, well, the spent casing matches the type of gun that, which is a 30-06. They're saying, well, the spent casing matches the type of gun for the bullet, which they can't identify. They can't match the bullet to the casing because the bullet's unidentifiable. But they're saying the spent casing that was found at the scene matches the gun that Tyler Robinson had. Well, it matches a 30-06, but it doesn't match the brand or the make or model specifically. I mean, it literally says here that it matches multiple brands and models of 30-06. So it doesn't even conclusively, through the shell casing, narrow it down, right? Or through the bullet, the fragment type. The lead lab results are too inconsistent to be verifiable as well, right? So what they're saying is, but what they said is that the shell casings that had the sayings on them that were dremeled etched onto the shell casings, they're saying that it matches a rotary device, and Tyler Robinson had a rotary device in his house, and so therefore that's like some kind of smoking gun. I find that to be very, very inconsequential, but I feel like they're grasping at straws here. They said that we know that it was Tyler Robinson's gun. I assume that it was, right? We know that, but there was also 6 sets of fingerprints on that gun, right? There was also at least six, okay, sets of DNA on that gun, right? And on the screwdriver, right? There's nothing conclusive here. And they are running around all of the media shills, the Wally Market Network. They're all pushing that this is a done deal. This lab report proves it, blah, 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 blah. A complete fabrication and lie. Completely. It's on the screen. It's up in the Jumbotron. It was completely inconclusive. The best that they have is that Tyler Robinson had a Dremel at his house and that a Dremel was used on the bullets. That's it. Let me just tell you this. I've got a Dremel at my house. I didn't shoot Charlie Kirk, right? I know probably every man that I know, actually a lot of women too, all own a rotary device. Dremels are so popular. Doesn't mean shit. That doesn't narrow it down, right? You don't have anything there. They're grasping at straws. I feel like the narrative is crashing, and they are literally just doing anything they can to try to recover, because the last few weeks in the Charlie Kirk narrative, before they've even selected a jury, have been brutal for the state. Go ahead, Eddie, and then we'll go to Lumi.
I kind of think your narrative is crashing, dude, because I just listened to you read that document. Now, up at the top, it says Exhibit 6 consists of one 30 caliber class deformed, damaged bullet jacket. So it's a 30 caliber bullet.
30 out of 6. I said that.
Right. Now, that round can be fired out of different weapons. So this document proves that the FBI is doing a very honest ballistics examination.
But it's inconclusive.
That's correct. Now, we don't have all the discovery. Now, they found the casings on top of the building, right, which would match to
they found one casing. There was only one shot.
And it had engravings, right? So they found the Dremel tool at his house. Now, we don't have all the discovery, like I said. They could have found brass fragments on the tip of the Dremel or on the workbench where he was using.
Leanne on YouTube says she does pedicures with her Dremel.
Right, but what if they found brass fragmentation on the workbench that you don't know about because you don't have the discovery? Would that change your mind?
Yeah, but we don't have that, right?
That's right, because you don't have all the evidence.
I don't make assertions based on what I don't have. I make assertions based on what I do have.
You're spinning what you do have to make it fit your narrative.
Tiber roll. The bullet is not a match for the gun, is it?
Now say that again.
Is the bullet a match for the gun? Yes or no?
The bullet matches a 30-06. It could be fired out of a 30-06.
Any 30-06. Okay, so
that's right.
Yeah. Okay, so is the bullet a match for Tyler Robinson's gun?
It's inconclusive.
So it's not a yes.
That's right.
Okay.
It could be
therefore it's a no. All right. So
it's not a no. It's not a yes, though.
It doesn't match. It is a negative. Does this match?
It's a Mauser.
Negative. Again.
It's a World War era Mauser.
It literally says, I just want to pull it up here. It literally says, 3 of the 5. I'm looking for the particular.
Read line 2, Exhibit 6.
Okay, Exhibit 6 consists of one 30-06 caliber class deformed damaged bullet jacket fragment and 4 lead fragments. The Exhibit 6 bullet jacket fragment could not be identified or excluded as having been fired from the Exhibit 1 rifle based on agreement of all discernible class characteristics, and neither sufficient agreement nor sufficient disagreement of individual characteristics. The result of the comparison was inconclusive,
That's
which
correct.
means it could not be matched.
That's right.
Okay, so it either can match, it either does match or it doesn't match. It does not match because it's inconclusive. You can add that context, but it doesn't matter. All that matters is that it does not match, right? So let's continue here. Firearms that produce general rifling characteristics similar to those observed on Exhibit 6A bullet jacket fragments include numerous makes and models, right? So they can't even match it. They can't even narrow it down to his Mauser, right? It says, I'm going to read this to you again. It's the next line down if you didn't read it, Eddie.
I read it all.
Firearms that produce general rifling characteristics similar to those observed in their findings on Exhibit 6A bullet jacket fragment include numerous makes and models. So even the type of gun that it was fired out of is inconclusive, right? They can't, it's even a broader scope of being inconclusive, right?
I mean, you're totally correct. It's inconclusive with that bullet and the fragment.
How am I misrepresenting the facts here?
Because we have other
you're
facts.
saying
It
doesn't match. You're saying it doesn't match.
I know,
but you're saying it doesn't match.
On
it's
a route.
Inconclusive.
Do you think they know that the gun that they found, do you think they know it was just fired? Do you think they can know that?
What's that?
The gun that they found, that Tyler Robinson wrapped in a towel allegedly and whatever, do you think they know that gun was just fired? Do you think they can do analysis on that gun?
Well, I mean, I don't know about just fired. I think that there's a possibility of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I would argue.
So then, well, hang on. We got casings on a rooftop.
You can fire a gun.
We got the gun.
Wait. You can fire a gun and then wrap it in something, put it in a case or put it in a box, and it's going to be in the same condition that it was when you fired it 6 months from now. If you don't have any air movement, there's no dust collecting.
Well, I'm not a forensic
touching it or anything like that. If you're not disturbing it, then it stands to reason outside of decay, right? It should be pretty much the same way that it was.
Well, I don't know if they can distinguish fresh gunpowder from aged.
Exactly.
I have no idea.
I don't know enough about gunpowder forensics and residue to have an opinion on that.
Well, that's all I'm getting at, dude. You don't have all the.
But out of all of the right-wing media shills, they are presenting it as this is a smoking gun, and you just went through it with me. It is not. This is a nothing burger. This is inconclusive on every fucking level. They can't even match the fire. They can't even match it to the brand of the gun.
Well, we got a lot of other circumstantial evidence surrounding it. They can't match the bullet
there's no
itself.
Smoking gun here, Eddie.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of evidence pointing at Tyler Robinson. Now, you can deny that.
This report that is being pushed by the state media shills, right? Where is the smoking gun in this report?
Actually, this report, if you're just looking at this document that you posted, this report would be used by the defense. But 100%. If you just had it alone.
100%. Right? So,
but there's a lot of other surrounding circumstantial evidence.
But I mean, you're calling me out for spin, but you just admitted that this benefits the defense more than you have all of the right-wing media shills out here spinning it the opposite way. Why are you calling them out? I'm the one being honest.
I don't think you're taking the totality of the information that's being put out. Right? I think you're focusing in on this document.
This document is the breaking news in the case. I don't understand what you mean.
Well, no, the casings on the rooftop are breaking news on the case. The gun that they found is everything right surrounding it is. You have to look at the whole picture here, right? Does he have a good defense?
What is the smoking gun in the findings? In the
I would
last 2
say
days.
in the last 2 days. I mean, I don't know about that. Last 2 days, I'm looking at the bigger
Kirk
picture here.
cremated?
I mean, I don't know.
You think it's a valid question to ask? Somebody in my chat on YouTube just said, "Where is Charlie's body?"
Well, I mean, I'm going to be cremated. That's what I want to do. I mean, what does that mean?
It's
What does that
happening.
have to do with
It's happening
anything?
He
right
was
now.
buried.
Was he buried?
I think so. He had a funeral, didn't he?
Well, there you go. He was buried.
I mean, people who are cremated also have funerals.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'd like to know what you think the smoking gun is overall, not the last 2 days.
Yeah,
overall.
I would love to know.
Overall,
Mm-hmm.
I would probably go with the video connecting with the weapon and the casings on the roof. Man, it's just hard
What video?
to focus in on one thing.
Well, you
Maybe.
wanted to be cremated. I think that's happening right now.
What do you mean?
Rude. That's rude. Come on, bro. That's rude.
I'm just kidding. We're friends. But no, I do want to know, because remember, this is a guy who's innocent until proven guilty. You said, well, how's the defense going to conduct themselves? Well, the first question, the defense by definition is defending, right? They're hitting the ball back. They're hitting the ball back on a prosecutorial team that needs to prove to the reasonable doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt, for 12 people.
That's right.
That this guy is guilty. So when our friend here asks you, my friend, what the smoking gun is, you have to think in those terms. You have to prove each one of those things independently. So what have you got now? You said you've got the video, and you said you've got what, casings? I mean, casings, first of all, that means very little, right? I mean, that doesn't mean a lot.
I think that's a very nearsighted argument from you, David, because you're asking me to point to one direct piece of evidence that's going to just put the nail in the coffin. If I'm the prosecution, I'm not going to give you just one piece of evidence. I'm going to give you 15 to 20 pieces of evidence, and I'm going to tie it all in. And if you're on the jury, I'm going to make you believe it because I got the evidence.
Well, I do
rather
agree
be
with you
in their position.
I do agree with you, my friend, that is a strategy, and sometimes a winning strategy, where you paint the picture and you can be convicted on circumstantial evidence. So I think you're right about all these things, but there is usually one or two super powerful, irrefutable things. They're sort of nail in the coffin type things. Now, what do you think those things are?
I have two of them. One of them is the weight of the lead, because nothing ever left the throat, so they can weigh that lead, which they didn't discuss that, and that'll give you a lot of information, because you'll be able to match up exactly what kind of bullet it was because of the weight of the lead. The other thing is there was another one which is really important. Damn, I forgot it. Give me a second.
That's okay, my friend. On your first point, diligent, what does that matter? I have to ask you, my friend, because you've really followed this.
Oh wait, the second one was
Sure,
the gunpowder residue on his hands. Did he have gunpowder residue on his hands? Well, they haven't said. They didn't. So I would say that
Don't you
that would
think
be
they
the
would
first
have
thing.
said if they were true?
100%. Yeah, exactly. And that's actually the first thing you do in any murder crime is they basically will test the hands to see if he shot the gun or not, because it goes all over you. You can't escape it. You could change your clothes, you can shower, you'll still test positive to this. So it's proven forensically as well in many, well documented. This is not like food, it's not like random science. This is proven. So they didn't discuss that yet, which is key, because once that key piece of evidence comes out, along with a few other anomalies, then it becomes much more interesting.
Well, and I'm going to give you my answer, David. And we don't have it yet, but I think what's going to really put the nail in and really convince the jury is the testimony and the transcripts, or live testimony from his parents of him talking to them of what he did. I think that may do it.
Getting reports that the app is crashing. So if we have any issues or if it crashes, Make sure you guys are all following Hit Slap and Harmony, my co-host. Thank you guys for coming so much. If you want to support what I'm doing, the best way is by subscribing. There's a pink button on my profile. I have a subscriber-only after space scheduled for after this one. And turn all notifications on for my account and share my Epstein and Charlie Kirk content, please. Sorry. Eddie, I have to ask you a question. What compelling evidence have you been presented with that convinces you Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk?
I mean, like I said, there's like 5 or 6 or 7 compelling pieces of evidence that convince me.
What are they?
That he's probably the guy. Well, the video,
the video
gun.
where you can't see him.
Yeah, but you can make out distinction.
I mean, that could be anybody,
right? Right. That's not going to be. You're going to get convict on that because they're going to be, that's not conclusive, right? So, but the bullets, the casings, the gun, the letters he was writing on
the
Discord
bullet was inconclusive. Why does the bullet convince you of anything?
Well, it's inconclusive that it was fired from that weapon, but it does say that that's the correct casing that bullet would fit on, right? So it's a connection.
It says 30-06, but it also says it could fit many makes and models of that gun.
Right. Well, I'll just put that to the side then. But you got the weapon. You got him saying it on Discord. You got his
Discord
parents.
Chat when he was in custody?
You
realize that
I believe you're wrong on that. I actually think that was the 12th. That was on the 12th.
No, it was on the 11th. That was further verified.
You got it, boy. You got it.
That was. Don't talk over me, Logic. I'm gonna have to drop you down. That was verified through ABC's reporting. I don't know if you guys saw this. I think Candace reposted it this morning. But go take a look. It's verified. They also said that they had him at 6 p.m. on the 11th. 6 p.m. on the 11th. I'll post that clip after the space.
Yeah, I would like to see that clip.
No problem. Yeah, but so again, the Discord chat, right? There's no evidence that he confessed. Remember when the Discord chat thing came out, and this is why I think they're all active right now. When the Discord chat thing came out, they all came out and said the note, the burned note, right? Like that was the new narrative. After the Discord chat got destroyed, right? The Fed slop narrative, then they said, oh, well, we have this note. And then I posted this clip and it went viral of Kash Patel coming out and saying, well, the note was destroyed, but we know forensically that the note existed through our aggressive interviewing posture at the FBI. So he's literally telling you that this note doesn't actually exist. Right? Again, where is the compelling evidence to say that Tyler Robinson was even at the... I mean, have you even seen anything that would suggest that he was even there that day, Eddie?
Well, like I say, I mean, I don't have all the evidence, right? I don't know if his car was in the area.
You think that he was just randomly stopping at Dairy Queen for a glizzy and a shake at 20 minutes after he committed one of the largest assassinations in the country in this century?
Well, they got him on video.
Does it make any sense to you logically?
Could he be a patsy? Is that what you're suggesting? He's a patsy?
I'm not making any suggestions at all.
I mean,
I'm saying, does it make sense that a man who just committed a massive, high scale, right, high profile assassination would casually stroll into Dairy Queen for a glizzy and a shake 20 minutes after he committed the act? Does that make sense to you?
I mean, a lot of things sometimes don't make sense, man, that people do. I can't, get in their heads. But I think where you're going to turn diligent is going to be on witness testimony. I think that's where you're going to have to face the fact that he probably did it. Right?
I mean, I get into primary evidence. I definitely think that he is somehow involved with this case, 100%, right? I feel like he is 100% somehow involved with this case. I do not think that I find it highly unlikely, or actually, I'll just say this. I have not seen any compelling evidence that he shot Charlie Kirk. Zero. I have seen zero evidence that he has shot Charlie Kirk, that he was the one that did it, right?
And
There's
go
ahead, David.
Let us keep in mind that we have a couple of other people that actually confessed to this crime, And then they stop following this. So the state, all the work is ahead of the state until it's proven. So one other question that I would ask Eddie, if you're okay with this, Diligent, is are there things that the state is doing and has done that are very suspicious to you? Do you think that the way they have conducted themselves and the way they haven't followed other leads or the way that they immediately destroyed the crime scene, is there anything the state has done that inspires incredulity in your mind?
Yeah, there are a lot of anomalies like them paving over. That was very strange. I don't understand that, and the helicopters or the planes, I don't really put much credence into that. Some of that was debunked early on.
Destroying the crime scene, though. I mean, Eddie.
Yeah, that is strange.
That's a huge
and there
red
are some
flag.
things. And them pulling the tapes, the cards,
the SD cards, is that not
out of the
huge,
cameras?
That's a super big red flag.
it could be a red flag, or it could just be panic
Could be
and ignorance, right?
No, it's a criminal act. Okay, disturbing. If you remove evidence from a crime scene, it's like literally, if we had a functioning government, that would have been a criminal act. In Ohio, it's a felony, right? It's a felony. They can try to justify it and say, oh, he was just trying to save it from yada yada. He literally had to climb up and unrig the camera. Nobody was just grabbing that off the table and walking away with it, right? It was literally rigged up in the air. He had to climb up on Charlie's bloody chair, right, which is pretty morbid and macabre in and of its own rights, to climb up and take it down and dismantle it and take the card out, right? So it wasn't like a simple act that any passerby could have done. It was very deliberate, right? And it's super. It's just that for me, when I saw him do that, that's when I knew. I was 100% convinced.
And that's the opposite of panic, isn't it, Diligent? I mean, if my friend had gotten assassinated, I'm not sure I would be able to remain standing. That's the opposite of panic, isn't it?
Yeah. There was, I reenacted this, and then he climbed up. Before that, he climbed up on the terrace or on the wall, the parapet wall, and got in position to film everybody carrying Charlie out. Right?
I would agree with David on that one. It is kind of the opposite of panic, because if someone just got shot and there's blood gushing out, my mind is not going, oh, let me get the SD cards. My mind is like, can I help my friend, or what am I doing, or am I running, or whatever. That's a deliberate thought to go get that's a deliberate. So I would agree with that.
Well, Eddie, let me ask you this: when Joe,
if you guys are on YouTube, you can see right here. This is.
I just heard them say the active shooter, Charlie Kirk, has been shot. Charlie Kirk.
Let me turn the sound off. Sorry, you guys. Keep talking. I was just on YouTube. You can see what we're talking about here. This guy climbing up on Charlie Kirk's chair. That chair, this is not needed. There's nobody. There's cops everywhere, right? This area is secured. They formed a circle around the crime scene. And this guy is literally removing the key evidence, the closest camera behind Charlie Kirk, and removing it from an active crime scene, right? This right here, when I saw this, and I saw that they were just gonna try to shove this under the. Look at him hand it off to this guy so this guy can walk away with it. It looks like a drug deal, right? It is so obvious to me what is going on here, that I as soon as I saw this and I saw that they were not going to, they weren't asking this guy any questions. They were actually attacking me for pointing it out, right? Like the shills, right? The media, the new alt-right Con Inc. media shills. When they came after me for pointing this out, I knew. I was like, oh wow, this is a big operation. This is an operation. They're removing key evidence from a crime scene. You're not allowed to ask why. You're not allowed to ask who. We didn't know at the time. This is Terrell Farnsworth, by the way. I finally identified him, and later was confirmed by Candace through my investigations, and found out his family has ties to Erika Kirk through Lori Kirk. Goes way back to 2014, 2010s. There's a lot there. but you realize that this whole thing is a massive operation of some kind, and this is criminal what we're seeing here, right? Removing a SD card from an active crime scene. I would argue there's a good chance that this card in its original state before it was tampered with probably would give us a very good indication of what happened to Charlie, and that's why this happened, right? You can easily deduce that. And when you think about that in totality, and Eddie, I am thinking about this in totality. I'm weighing the evidence that we do have that suggests Charlie Kirk did it against the evidence that we can see that there's more to be seen here. There's more to that meets the eye here, right? Like obviously, this is the hugest. Like if I was Tyler Robinson's attorney, I would be all over this. This is a huge cause for reasonable doubt, right? Why is a TPUSA staff member allowed to remove the closest angle behind Charlie towards the crowd in 4K that's there? We don't know what happened to it after that, right? The chain of custody has been broken. I would be all over that.
But it doesn't take away probable cause. And now I think his defense attorney, if he's worth any kind of salt, he's going to use everything, right, and defend the guy. But I would definitely use that if I was him.
And that's just one of many things. This is what I'm talking about. There's more anomalies to this case than there is compelling evidence.
Now,
I can go on and on and on.
The person that removed the card, did they have a military background, do you know, or anything?
Not that we know of. He's a Mormon. Go ahead, David.
And I would say this, when the state behaves like a criminal, it militates, my friend, against all of that circumstantial evidence. And that's what we have here. Don't forget, if a wife meets her demise, and right before then she says, I think my husband's out to take me out to kill me. Well, guess what? The police go to the husband. He becomes suspect number one. Charlie Kirk said, I think Israel is trying to take me out. I think they're going to take me out. And then when Joe Kent says, well, we wanted to go down that road investigatively, and this is a counterterrorism guy, so try to pretend he doesn't know. I'm not saying this to you, Eddie, but try to pretend all you want that he doesn't know what he's talking about. Clearly he does. And he says, they wouldn't let us go down that road. Now, if, my friend, you were the defense, you would bring all of these things up. And Diligent, I've learned mostly from you because of the great investigative journalism, all the things, anomalies around the autopsy. Why would the state is never in the business of destroying evidence. They never know what evidence. We convict people 20, 30, 40 years later because we keep the evidence. And all of a sudden the state is in the evidence destruction business. Well, the defense will clearly use that. The state is a bit on trial here. So that really is we've been lied to now for 5 years in so many directions, and the state has such overwhelming power and resources.
I just can't believe all of the people who were like against COVID and the jab and the 2020 election and all of those save the children. All of those people are now just sucking the dick of the government. They're just sucking the dick of the government. No questions asked, just deep throating the government. It's so crazy to me, bro. Like what happened? This is the biggest psyop ever.
Well, what David just said, Diligent, would never be entered in a court of law. It's speculation. You're not going to be able to say that Israel was behind this unless you have evidence that he was. Because Charlie Kirk said, I think Israel's going to kill me is not.
I honestly don't think Israel is behind it. I think that it benefited Israel, right? But I don't think I think our people were more likely.
But you repeat yourself. The CIA and the Mossad are the same thing, and along with the MI6.
I believe a distinction without a difference.
Right. I think there's an intelligence industrial complex. But Eddie, you could be right, my friend. I don't know. I'm not the judge, and the judge is the one that determines whether you can figure out if the glove don't fit, then you quit. But it can be entered into evidence. Countervailing theories, especially when the person that died conveyed them, can be entered into evidence. Of course they can. And then the question is, are you allowed to follow that evidence? For instance, will the defense be able to call Joe Kent to the stand? Will he be able to call anybody from in the intelligence apparatus or anybody that's intelligence adjacent to be able to come in and say, yes, this is very strange, or to talk about, and then to tie that to anomalies around, and I think we should talk about it more, anomalies around the autopsy and all these other things. So you could be right, but I'm not certain that you are. Remember, the genius of getting OJ off, who clearly was guilty, come on, the genius of getting him off was to call into question the investigators. But this, there's a thousand times more reasons to call the investigators into question. Don't you think that, Eddie?
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation regarding Israel and hearsay with Joe Kent. Yes. No.
Well, that's still evidence, right? Because speculation,
it's hearsay.
But
it's information.
It's hearsay.
If Charlie Kirk said himself, if we have evidence of this through the text to Candace, that Israel is trying to assassinate me. I think you said it more diligent. Did you say that to any other people? Israel is going to assassinate. That is.
I mean, someone close to Charlie said it 2 weeks before the assassination. Harrison Smith posted about it on X.
Right.
And then the FBI never looked into it. We found that out when I was on Candace's space with Harrison Smith. I asked him right in front of everybody. I said, did the FBI ever contact you about you saying that there was a threat against his life weeks before he was assassinated? No. Well, why is that? Why is that?
And why are we doing this? Think about the day 1 and the day 2 and the day 3, everything the investigators did and the material omissions in their investigative process for the biggest assassination since John F. Kennedy. I mean, this is obviously, nobody is in question about that. Nobody in the government, nobody in the White House, nobody in the world is in question of what a huge, huge thing it is that this guy got assassinated right there in 4K. And yet, we're led to believe that the indolence of these investigators was so powerful that they were industriously just trying to destroy evidence. I'm sorry, but that can be brought into the record, and I think that they can also bring in Charlie's concern about who was trying to take him out.
I agree. Go ahead, Cody.
So I was just putting it in the purple pill. I need to put it in there. I would say, and I'm with you on that deal. I think that the Mossad and the MI6 and CIA, they work in tandem. They work together out of these things. But when Trump tweeted that out, and everybody, I'll never forget that. And I always bring when he tweeted it out, he made that AI image of him and Charlie Kirk after he had passed, or after he was assassinated. And it had the Israel flag, and that's what everybody was focused on. But
the
right,
Schmo Pearl or whatever.
Yes, I mean, if people would look into it, I swear, it's the answer's right there.
What was the Schmo? What does that mean? What is it?
He's
called?
Basically an imbecile.
How do you spell it?
It's Shlomo, SHLOMO PERL.
Schmo Pearl.
Yeah, it's just basically saying that it's just old school, and I posted on it 1,000,000 times, but nobody ever looks. It's like, why would Trump put that out? Like, why? Why would you tweet that out right after he died and have R.I.P. Shlomo Pearl? That's the good question. If anybody could answer me on why that he would have R.I.P. Shlomo Pearl and right after Charlie Kirk died in a truth that he put out, I would love to hear it. If anybody could justify that answer.
What does Shlomo Pearl mean?
It's slang for a gullible or naive person, basically calling someone a patsy or useful idiot who's easily fooled. It's a play on Shlomo Pearl, like Solomon Pearl, twisting wisdom into slow-mo Pearl for someone who doesn't catch on quick.
Grok, did President Trump post those words in congruence with Israel and Charlie Kirk the day or near his assassination?
Yeah, Trump posted a Truth Social message on September 12th, 2025, 2 days after Charlie Kirk's assassination on the 10th. It was a photo of him and Charlie together with Israeli flags in the background, and it included the phrase slow-mo Pearl right under it. Conspiracy circles went wild with it, some saying it was calling Charlie a naive patsy, others claiming it was a coded reference to an old story about a Jewish guy who infiltrated the Nazis. The post definitely ties Trump, the Israel angle, and Charlie together right
In
after
what
the shooting.
context is the phrase used the most? Is it the savior against the Nazis, or is it the gullible, useful idiot?
The most common way it's used is the slang one, calling someone a gullible patsy or useful idiot, the naive guy who gets played. That's the context that shows up
Wow.
everywhere online, especially in the Charlie Kirk post discussions.
And the spelling's different, correct?
They what? No, no, it wasn't different. Mm-mm. That's crazy. That's messaging. That is. I mean, Eddie. They're calling him a useful idiot and celebrating his death. Right? They're mocking him 2 days after he's assassinated and calling him a useful idiot with the Israeli flags in the background. That is a message, is it not? Is Eddie still up here?
They got him.
I think they
No,
did.
I'm here. That is strange, man. It's weird. That why would he Shlomo Pearl?
I mean, does that make sense? Like you're saying we have to look at the big picture here. I mean, are we looking at the big picture here?
So we would have to say that Donald Trump knows the truth if he posted that Charlie Kirk or
he definitely
he's
posted it. I remember
patsy.
when it went viral. He definitely posted it.
So
But
is he pointing to a patsy, or what is he pointing to? What would you
he's
speculate?
calling. I mean, it's calling. Yeah, it's saying you're stupid. We fooled you. We tricked you, right? And I would say, we know for a fact that that Trump doesn't always post his own tweets, right? His family does it. He has a whole team. We've seen videos of this. They'll all be sitting in a room, and then they'll all be holding a phone that either has his account logged in it, or they'll be holding his phone, and they'll discuss what they're going to post before they post it, right? And so, but he doesn't always post it. He usually just says, "Yeah, go ahead, whatever," right? I would argue there's probably a very good chance that he didn't make that post himself, right? And then for them to,
I don't know about that, Diligent. I mean,
does it matter?
Well, it doesn't matter. Now, Trump does post very cryptic shit, right? He's not always straightforward with what he's saying. So I would agree with that.
I put it in the purple pill for you right there. There's I did a whole deep dive on that because I just couldn't believe. I was like, why does nobody else see this? Why is nobody questioning it?
That's crazy, man. That's absolutely crazy. And I remember I did talk about it in the spaces that occurred, in the like week or so afterwards. I feel like it got buried really quick. In the face, like everything, it was just so nuts. Like that month was just so insane. Um, I came around. I was like, I thought everybody was just like itching to blame Israel for like the first 10 days, right? After he was assassinated. I thought it was more of it's the Jews type stuff. And then Candace Owens put out released the content of one of the text messages in the group chat, which was later confirmed by Andrew Kolvet. And it was about him leaving the pro-Israel cause. And in that context, at the same time, the post about Harrison Smith going viral for having for having been told by someone in Charlie Kirk's orbit that he thought Israel was going to kill him if he left the pro-Israel cause. Together those were massive for me. Then I had to start looking at motive. That's motive. Whenever you're looking at a homicide, first you look at the people closest to the victim. If you don't know who the killer is, for 100%, and you still look anyways because there might be more than one involved with the homicide. You always look at the proximity and motive, right? Those are the two things that homicide detectives go for first, right? And they didn't go to proximity. They didn't go to the security team. They didn't go to Erika Kirk. They didn't go to TPUSA staff. Anybody who stood to benefit from directly from Charlie Kirk's demise did not get sniffed at all, right? That's a red flag. And then another red flag is the motive, right? They tried to bury the motive of what Harrison Smith had disclosed and Charlie Kirk leaving the pro-Israel cause 2 days before he died. 2 days, right? I'm done. I'm leaving the pro-Israel cause. The most influential, okay, person on the youngest demographic in the country was leaving a pro-Israel, a geopolitical cause months before, right? They wanted to go to war with a country on behalf of Israel, right? You have to be utterly, you either have to be a complete ideologue, you have to have no integrity at all, or be a complete soulless shill to not acknowledge these facts, right? So when I saw that, then I was like, oh my God, we have to look at this, right? Now, do I think Israel killed Charlie Kirk? No, I do not, right? I don't know who killed Charlie Kirk, but I think that our government is responsible for allowing it to happen at the very least, right? Is it possible another government took him out? Yes. I find it more likely that it was a military operation conducted by our own government on behalf or maybe in conjunction with foreign assets, but I don't know that for a fact. Again, I don't know. I don't believe anything. I'm just saying, like, if I had to lean towards an answer, that's what I lean towards with Fort Huachuca, right? Never getting fully debunked, right? That Fort Huachuca is still on the table, right? A lot of that story still adds up. The way that they came after us for talking, I've been through 3 big cancel waves since I've been on this platform in the last 12 months. One was for Epstein. One was for Charlie Kirk right after he was assassinated when I didn't toe the line. And then the third one was for Fort Huachuca. And the Fort Huachuca one, when I covered that one and wouldn't stop talking about it, the wave was so organized. It wasn't effective because I had already defeated the first 2 cancel waves, and all they had was the same old bullshit I had already destroyed. But because of that, though, where I didn't really have to focus on fighting so much, I was able to see the structure of the organization behind the attacks, behind the attempts to control the narrative, right? It was more flushed out into the open, and I wasn't so distracted that I couldn't identify it, right? And if you want to know what I'm talking about, just go search Fort Huachuca. It's spelled Huachuka, or CA, I'm sorry, not K. Fort Huachuca on my timeline, and you'll see the post that I made highlighting the organized efforts to silence journalists who were talking about it. It made me feel like we were over the target, right? The way that none of the people who were alluded to have been there by Mitch Snow came out and just denied it outright. They never came out and just directly denied it. Erika Kirk, the boyfriend, right? None of them just came out and just flat out denied it and gave any evidence of them being somewhere else at that time, right? So I definitely think this is a military operation. There's just too many aspects of it that are earmarks of a military operation. I still think we're ultimately responsible. The number one function of any government is the safety of its citizens. Period. That's the number one function of any government. The only reason why any human would subjugate themselves to the authority of another human or a group of humans is because that group of humans or human was going to ensure that their survival or safety, right, to the best of their ability. Otherwise, I'm not going to subjugate myself to a government. If you can't keep me at least relatively safe, right? Like of course you can't nobody can control outcomes. But if you can't even give like a facsimile of safety, right? Then why am I paying you? Why am I serving you? Why am I beneath you? The number one function of any government is to protect its citizens. If our government is now complicit in or failing to protect our brightest minds and our loudest voices, then what are we doing here? I just I'm really at a place of inflection with my beliefs in this regard. Go ahead, Coyote.
So I was just looking at your comments. I don't understand this one aspect of everything. It's like everybody's in this guilty until proven innocent when it comes to this case. And we're Americans, y'all. I mean, if you look at it's kind of just sick, man. Because like I don't know why everybody wants to prove that, like they got to prove that I'm not trying to prove that he's innocent or guilty. It makes no sense to me. The whole because I've shot that gun, I've shot it a lot, I've shot deer in the actual neck with it, and it's if it was anywhere else I could understand, but it's just a weird story all in all. But that's just something that was random of this. I wanted to kind of get back to that summer. I hope you don't let that go, brother, because it's a big deal right there. It's very very
What's the
odd.
big deal? Don't let
That
what
slow
go.
mo, yeah, that thing right there, because I think the answer is kind of right there. That tweet was put out that same day, if I'm not mistaken, and I just I always wanted that to be at least questioned a little deeper, and I didn't have the reach for
Well,
it.
I mean,
You know, I think,
how do you investigate that? I think it's a face value statement.
yeah, but nobody knows about it. I don't think people know. It got
I
buried.
mean, it was everywhere.
Well, it doesn't even make sense that you would use it in the other terms of the Solomon character, because he was like a youth. He was an orphan youth in Germany, and he got sent to an elite Hitler youth camp, and he had to
Yeah.
disguise his identity because he was really Jewish.
Well, the name's
So,
spelled different with that. It's Perel on that. But that guy, he was Jewish. They fled over, and he ran from an orphanage house, and he got caught by the Nazis, and so he became in the Hitler Youth, and then he ended up participating in the draft. He also worked for the Red Army as well. But then he got caught by the Americans, let go, and he went and fought for the IDF. And I think it was 1948 when they started doing their thing. So it's
yeah,
an interesting story. But
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 how
the
does
other
that
one is
relate to Charlie Kirk? That doesn't relate to Charlie
That's
Kirk.
not it. It's the other one. It's the Shlomo Pro. It's the saying. It's their saying over there, like you're an imbecile. And they have it on it's on a billboard. It was put on a billboard in Tel Aviv. Like they have it right there. It's like what? And Eminem, it's M something Media Music owns that specific billboard. I mean, I've looked deep into it, but the guy was anonymous that put it up in there. So they even put it up there in Tel Aviv, but it just never. I think it was one of the things just never got the traction of a questioning that I thought it should have, because that's very weird. It's just plain weird. It's there's no other way to put it. Like he's a patsy or something. Like I don't know
Coyote
what they're
doesn't know
trying to
any
say.
other words besides weird.
It's very strange. It's very unique.
We
Are
got
you
two new
trying to
words. Thank
say?
you.
I can't. Sally and Harmony. What?
Sorry, go ahead, Sally.
No, I just said strange and never mind. I was just making a joke. Go ahead, Harmony.
Oh, I was just asking if you're trying to say he was a Shabbos goy, Coyote.
No, I think they just. I think he was honestly. I think he was tired of being
What does
told
that mean?
opposition.
Do you know what that is, Coyote?
Just
I
tell
don't
us
have
what it
no
means,
idea.
Harmony.
Well, I guess I just thought because you had all this information about it, I assumed you knew that a Shabbos goy is somebody that does things for they are not Jewish, but they do things for Jewish people. And there's a lot of different things, like they can't drive on certain days, so they have people who are in their family they call Shabbos goy who will drive them to church on the days they can't drive, things like that.
Oh, like when they're observing the Sabbath or Shabbat.
Yeah, and so any Gentile can become a Shabbos goy.
But enough about Marco Rubio.
Sorry, I feel like I made it awkward
The
in here.
views of the speakers are not necessarily the views of the host. Just want to throw that out there. Go ahead, Paul.
Oh, I'm sorry, Harmony. Are you saying that a Shabbos goy is the fictional equivalent of a familiar for a vampire?
Nice.
I don't know about that.
Disavow. Akanji, what do you think's going on here?
Well, this room or generally?
Have you been listening?
I have been, yeah. I mean, the miscarriages of justice. There's plenty of those in history in order to reflect from who the actual perpetrators are. When the perpetrators are powerful entities that want their agenda to move more smoothly without somebody coming and putting a fly in the ointment. But I think this trial is a joke. You've got a cross-eyed.
He's a human sacrifice, is what I think.
Yeah, he definitely is. He definitely is. And then the thing is, you've got this moronic, what's his name, head of the FBI, whose eyes point in the wrong direction, which is
Cash
clearly
Patel.
right. That's
Cash
the one.
App Patel.
Yeah. So it's not a surprise that he can't get his evidence right when he can't see in a straight line anyway. So we've got that issue there. The guy looks like he's permanently surprised by any question put to him. And there's clearly cogs that are in the head, but they're not connected. And therefore, even though they're moving, they have no function. I mean, he's an embarrassment, yeah. And he's clearly been put there. And it's embarrassing for us because whoever put him there, well, Trump put him there, thinks that that's enough of an offering that we're going to think that that's competence, and therefore we're going to trust in it. To be given that sort of a mentally retarded individual who clearly requires medication, who has his own handler from Israel, half his age and like lubricating his member, it is absolutely just not acceptable to me that sort of offering is put forward as a method or as a puppet or an icon to say, yeah, that should satisfy you. It doesn't. It infuriates me.
Do you know about his brother? Do you know about Cash Patel's brother and the fact
Whoever
that
fucked his mother, what, did it twice?
brother, his brother heads up the Californian FBI, right?
Whoever fucked his mother did it twice.
Yeah, I didn't want to
wonder
get.
if her eyes were straight.
Don't want to get investigated.
Go ahead. Yeah,
But no, California is really important.
I already take enough heat. Go ahead, Louis. That's a joke, everybody. Just a joke. Go ahead, Louis.
You we're definitely going to get investigated. But no, his brother in California, it's really interesting because all of the fraud and everything which is being uncovered in California and all the crime, but his brother is like the head of the FBI there, like the Sacramento and various other places. He's like the main guy. So you would think that like they would have an interest in trying to do something, but I don't know. It's quite interesting, isn't it? And then the Gavin Newsom thing.
I'll ask anyone in the room who's sufficiently got enough, I guess, fortitude of the stomach to go and visit India, take a GoPro with you, slap a random person in the middle of the street so you get arrested, and whoever arrests you, you're going to give them $10, and they're just going to let you go. Right? That's the Indian sort of justice system for you. It is that corrupt at such a level and that cheap. And now we've made those people head of the FBI.
Disavow. Go ahead, Paul. Save us.
Man. Yeah, well, I know I was just going to bring up, a while back you talked about Joe Kent. And what bugged me so much about when Joe Kent...
I mean, Trump came out at him hard today.
Well, yeah, and it's like...
post?
I did not. I'll have to check that out. But whether you agreed with him or not, the point that was fair in the Tucker Carlson interview was just simply that they didn't get to check certain leads. And the benefit of that is you eliminate conspiracy theories if you have transparency. That's why every question is asked at this point, right? There was a video. Did you ever see the Gen Z and Charlie Kirk discuss Israel, Gaza, and U.S. policy that he held with those youngsters?
Yeah, somebody tagged me in it, I think, today.
I'll put it in the purple pill here in a little bit because that was such a revealing where it was like an honest conversation about AIPAC and all these things. You could see that Charlie was having these impactful conversations. And this doesn't mean that we're accusing anything. It just means there were certain things that need to be investigated, which is the same thing that Joe Kent said. And this is a man who's there. He's, counterterrorism, and he's saying there's obvious leads that we just wanted to eliminate, and they didn't let us eliminate. That's what has the public pissed off and worried. That why is there not transparency? If this guy was so beloved, why have we not seen the video of the sniper taking the shot? Why do we always see the cut edited version instead of, if you have the video, show it to the public? We've seen the most graphic one. Why can't you just show the shot if you have it? Which is why there's so many doubts of what is all this cover up? What is all this conspiracy? Why did Kash Patel have to go and take over that part of the FBI? Like, you know what I mean? Because didn't they send like a new guy to take over the Utah division?
They replaced the head of the FBI like a week or two before this happened.
Right. So
in that district, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. There's all these weird things that we just want an answer.
The judge over the case is the first case he's ever presided over.
Yeah, and because we don't get one clear answer, it just doesn't pass the smell test anymore. We're like, well, guess what? Sounds like you guys are lying about damn near everything, which means something much bigger is going on that we need to figure out. Like, it just adds fuel to the fire of all of us that we want to really know the answers now, because if you can't answer the simplest and most obvious questions to eliminate easy conspiracy theories, well, then maybe there's something to it. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Lumi?
Was that FBI new FBI guy Mormon by any chance?
I mean, there's a lot of. I don't have anything against Mormons. There's a lot of Mormons over there, though. Sally, she's gonna devour you, Lumi, if you bring up the Mormon name.
It's like Sam. Remember when Sam devoured me? I had to get a little like stone with him. Was like, look, Latter-day Saints. There is some weird stuff going on.
I thought it was very interesting for Sam, who is a very vocal about the Jewish people. Talking about being marginalized as a Mormon. Like, I was like, what's going on?
I think that Nick Shirley kid, that Nick Shirley kid, something's off with him, bro. Did you know that he was the same day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated? He was the guest of what's that dude, Andrew Kolvet or whatever. He was the guest that day, which is very odd.
There is one of the most astroturfed accounts ever. Like, what? I saw
like weird.
Yeah, I saw Nikita say, "Oh, we're gonna give this guy more attention." I was like, "Wait, dude, the Ollie market promotes him all the time. Like, it's so astroturf." Go ahead, Carrie. Carrie.
I was going to say it's probably more less of Mormon and more of Amish. And that's why the evidence is poor, because they're not allowed to watch television or use computers.
I having met the Amish people when I was in Pennsylvania for Trump's election, I have a lot of respect for that community. Those are good people.
I agree with you, but if they were heading the investigation, they wouldn't be able to use the CCTV or the computers or mobile phone or anything like that. So that's really the only way that investigation.
I don't know about that. The one that I talked to, who actually hooked me up with the community, he was a believer in Bitcoin. So they're not all super strict on the no electronics, no modern technology stuff. A lot of the more traditional are, but there are some edge cases. Go ahead, Carrie.
Oh, there are Amish speakers on here as well, just so you know.
Go ahead, Carrie.
I'll try one more time. And yes, I've been to Pennsylvania too, and I went to an Amish restaurant. It was delicious. But I have just one question. I have to take my pets out, but I do not understand the psychology of a person that would be a patsy. We talk about that a lot in different assassinations, but and Diligent, you can answer, or anyone here, but I don't think I could ever do it. What would make someone do that or be that? What is the payoff?
Have you seen the phenomenon called furries?
No. Well, I've heard about it. I don't really
there's
want to know.
there's a lot of incentives and motivations that I don't understand, but people do them anyways, right?
Well, I guess, but I don't know that many people.
I mean, that's
that
like
do
trying
do
to
them.
understand
Yeah.
the motivation of somebody who abuses kids or abuses animals or abuses women, for that matter, or
Well,
an arsonist, right? Like, I don't understand what makes these people tick. I don't understand why they do the things that they do. lately I've actually been reading more on the psychology and the neurology aspects of what makes people do what they do. But I can't, for Tyler Robinson, who knows? Maybe he's covering for somebody he cares about. Maybe his family is paid, right? Maybe the same thing with George Zinn, right? George Zinn told people at the hospital that he was the one that, George Zinn declared that he was the one that did it right after Charlie was shot, right? And then when he was at the hospital, he told people that he was paid to say that, right? So there's
Right.
maybe there obviously is underlying incentives that we're not aware of, but payment or protection or amnesty, these are very tangible motivating factors for why somebody would be a patsy or involved with trying to deflect blame.
They are tangible, I agree. I guess I'm thinking from my own psychology, but I'm thinking that for me, if I was going to do anything so horrific, it would be a financial motive. And I'm thinking if there was a financial incentive, then it should be traceable um, in some respect. So,
You would
yeah,
think, but then you would need
yeah,
a functioning government that's willing to investigate fully.
true.
But there was crypto wallets which they never wanted to investigate, I believe.
I remember there was something about that. We'll have to look back into that. I kind of forgot about that till you just mentioned it.
I don't remember the crypto. I have Bitcoin and stuff. I'm into the crypto and just the Bitcoin and Ethereum, but no, I don't remember hearing Bitcoin about this case.
Go ahead, David.
Well, let's remember that PSYOP means psychological operation. And if you don't think they put a lot of effort into that, there's plenty of evidence to the contrary. And remember, Ted Kaczynski was put through that at Harvard. And they basically tortured him, and he didn't
Well,
realize.
BYU, where Tyler Robinson went, is a CIA recruitment center.
Yeah, and the stuff that they can do, what they did to Ted Kaczynski, and he was never the same afterwards, by the way, because the whole idea was to completely tear down your self-esteem and then to see what they had left. So really, it's a measure of control. This is mind control. So when you say, well, you can't empathize with it, I believe you. They know who to target, they know how to do this, and they certainly have all the motivation in the world to do it. It's certainly in their minds a science. So I don't think it just boils down to money, my friend.
No, I don't know. Again, I can't imagine. I have no idea why he would willingly involve himself in such a thing. Yeah, I just have no idea. But she was asking me the psychology aspect of it. I always defer to incentive, right? Like there's always if whenever somebody does anything, there's always some kind of reward in it for them through an incentive, and that can be ideological. It can be something tangible, right? Some kind of gain. It could be again an ideological benefit. We have no idea what's making this kid tick. I can tell you this much. What I was told through third party was that he was involved, but he didn't pull the trigger, right? So that's all I know. We're gonna
Hey,
go
Delegate,
to go
can I
ahead.
add something for Eddie really quick? Just to help Eddie's case out a little bit in this fair conversation we're having. So the defense team wrote that according to the prosecution, the FBI is conducting a second comparative bullet analysis and a bullet lead analysis. He can't comment on much, but there are different tests that could be done to attempt to determine whether a particular rifle fired the bullet. The charging document, the official evidence that's being presented, is that Robinson surrendered to police at the Washington County Sheriff's Office the day after the September 10th killing. Robinson's DNA was found on the rifle's trigger, other parts of the rifle, the fired cartridge casing, two of the three unfired cartridges, and the towel used to wrap the rifle. And Robinson instructed his roommate to delete text messages he'd sent regarding Kirk's killing and to avoid talking to the police. So I just wanted to throw that out there. That is what they are presenting.
My YouTube chat. I am watching you guys too. They also said that there was reports that Lance Twiggs' family was in financial trouble And near around when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, either shortly after or shortly before, it appears that their mortgage was paid off in totality. So that's something worth noting and looking into. I remember seeing that on the news feed, but I was preoccupied, so I didn't dig into it. I guess I will. Go ahead, Akanji.
Yeah, am I being dense here? But I thought that one of the weird things about this bullet was that it theoretically entered him, but it didn't exit. That apparently his spine was made of titanium or something. They were suggesting. I remember that being talked about.
Yeah, the miracle, right? That's what I was saying. And even when they said that, right? They said, according to the surgeon and according to Andrew Kolvet, and who also had, allegedly had Erika Kirk on the phone, which made it okay for HIPAA, right? The surgeon said that the bullet was completely intact and that it didn't fragment. That's what prevented it from shooting other, ricocheting into other people or going through and harming other people who were around him.
So I
Right?
was
That
going to
was the
say that
miracle.
if there's no exit wound, then why is there only a fragment to look at, and that can't be matched with any
That's a
weapon?
great question. That's a great question. And why does it contradict the statements of TPUSA staff, Andrew Kolvet in particular? It doesn't make any sense. Go ahead, Carrie. Eddie, we'll finish with you, and then I'm going to wrap it up.
Well, I just have to say this. I'm going to bring it back from the bullets and all that evidence. But I'm a widow. I was shocked. I became a widow about a year and a half ago, and I
Sorry
had
for your
an
loss.
Yeah, me too.
thank you. Thank you. I had an unusual reaction. I didn't cry for 4 days. So when I heard about Charlie Kirk's assassination and Erica's strange reaction, I was accepting of it because I had a strange reaction because I was in shock. But then when I saw her videos, my immediate reaction was disbelief. It was not authentic. That's an overused word now, but it didn't seem real at all. And that's when the last 2 months I started listening to Candace Owens again because I had stopped listening after she went on Brigitte Macron. So because I was like, "Oh, I don't care if the,
Right, right.
president of France, his wife is a man or not, I don't really care." But yeah, but the last 2 months, I started listening to Candace's episodes from the day of Charlie Kirk's death, one a day, and I'm evaluating and listening to it, and I don't nothing is making sense about what the government has presented to me. I'm not just following anyone, just mindlessly, but I'm listening to a lot of different people, and no, none of this makes sense.
I'm,
I
I'm
don't buy it.
fascinated. I'm fascinated by Bridget Macron. To be fair, because her skull
I don't
doesn't.
want to go there. I don't want to go there.
Her skull cannot be supported by those twiggy legs. She's like a UFO with streamers.
Well,
It's-
according to President Trump, she's the beautiful one and Candace is the ugly one. I couldn't believe he said that. Like, what?
yeah, it doesn't
It's
fit with his
crazy,
usual.
bro. That's just crazy.
His
Can
usual.
Eddie,
she can she do
go ahead,
Michelle
Harvey.
Obama next?
Right, right. Go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, I was the exact opposite, Carrie. I mean, because I'm a widower, and I could not function. I can get out of bed for 2 days, but I was thinking about Joe Kent, if you're going to try to get him on the stand, man, if he was trying to pull threads and the FBI was stopping him, you may be able to.
And he was tasked with investigating first, right? He said
Right.
that we were tasked with investigating, and then after we found leads that led to a quote unquote foreign nexus, then we were told we had to stop looking.
That may be a path to get him on the stand to testify.
I think that he's made enough public statements that that I think it's possible. But again, then we run into how much classified information can he share in the stand? Maybe if they redact the hearing, if they sequester the hearing, and redact they seal the files, the testimony, they could probably make it so that I mean, surely people who have classified access have to still appear in court, right? Like I don't imagine that gives you a pass to not be a witness to a crime. So
Yeah. Well, the jurors, I mean, you have to jump through a lot of hoops if you're going to start entering in classified evidence, like just like the Trump trial down in Florida with the Mar-a-Lago raid.
Yep. All right, you guys, I got to go. I want to say thank you, Eddie. Thank you for our speakers. You guys have been amazing. Make sure you're following Harmony, my co-host. She does hot yoga, always posting some fire wisdom on our timeline. Make sure you're following Hit Slap, the one, the only, the IQ master on X, always hosting spaces about controversial cultural topics as well as IQ. And he is he just, if you believe in EQ, he wants to see you. He's going to destroy your whole worldview. If you want to support what I'm doing, the best way is by turning all notifications on for my X account. If you're over on YouTube, like and share my live streams, share my channel with your normie friends, people that aren't on X. I'm trying to expand our voices to other platforms, and subscribe. There's a pink button on my profile. And you can subscribe for $5 a month. I have a group chat community that will throw you into, and I do subscriber only after spaces to give value to my subscribers. I have one scheduled. The link is in the Jumbotron, and we're about to start to it right now.
He don't talk unless the proof is in the lines. Receipts in the photo-coded truth in these rhymes. Power play chess, moving pawns through the blind. But a diligent denizen sees designs in the signs. They disguise what they hide, he just shows how it's shaped. Every source double check, never roll with the fakes. In this world full of wolves, he's exposing the snakes. Document every whisper, got the quotes and the dates. He don't chase what they post, he investigates where it stems. Paper trails never lie, follows links to the end. Truth is power, it bends, but yet it always defends. What's verified never shakes, even lost in the trends. So when he speaks, it's a lens, not a rumor or a vibe. He cuts
Shout
through
out
the noise, pulls
Unconfined
the
on
proof
X.
from the lies.
Go follow him.
This is for
He did
the
this
people
song.
trying to see through the disguise. Diligent denizen where the real can survive.
Thank you, Unconfined. That's at UNKONFINED. Dude's a legend. Have a good night, everybody. I'll see you over in the subscriber chat. Really appreciate you hanging with us, and we're going to be doubling down into our investigations into Charlie Kirk and Epstein over the next week. That's what I'm going to focus on. We'll cover some of the new news as well, but we are going to dig back into the investigative aspects of what we're doing here. And the only way that it works is together. So I'll see you guys on the flip side. Have a good night.